I had watched this documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. It was about this guy. He was like an overweight dude that had like the skin disease, and he ended up fasting for 60 days, just vegetable juice. This dude literally like looks like a different human being, and he like changed his entire life in 2 months. I was like, I want to do that. And so I bought a juicer and like went out and got all these vegetables. God, there's got to be a better way than this. Like fast forward, I come across this powdered like wheatgrass, organic wheatgrass that you just add water to. And I was like, oh, sweet. I'll just do this and just take this scoop of each and add water. And that's way easier than juicing. I just shared it with my followers one day and told them like, yeah, this is what I do to cut weight for my fights. Fast for 10 days. And then like everyone was just blowing me up with questions about it nonstop. And out of pure annoyance, I was like, all right, I'm just going to take all this to a manufacturer and just be like, can you put a scoop of each into one formula and just make it? And they were like, yeah, sure. So I did that. And I was like, here you go. The smashing greens are born.
My name is Derek Wolfe. I'm a Super Bowl champion and a 10-year NFL vet. Now, after a decade of professional football, I'm focusing on my other passions. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wolfe Untamed. Today's guest is former Navy SEAL Mitch Aguiar. He's a combat veteran and a 10-time MMA champion, and this is gonna be a fun one, so make sure you check this out. All right, Mitch, you made it, dude.
How you doing? Thanks for having me out.
Thanks for coming, man. We got a good workout in. Did like a good circuit workout, little high intensity interval with like a slow burn involved, so that was pretty good. Hit the tubs. Ate some food. Now we're here.
Yep.
And, I just, before we start, I want to like give your companies a shout out because you sent me these energy drinks, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, and I've just been hammering them because they're delicious. They don't have any of that artificial bullshit in them. Mm-hmm. Nobody can explain it better than you. So why don't you go ahead and explain what this energy drink is, what it's about, how you started it, and just get into it.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah, so the energy drinks, these are our latest concoction, and they've been about a year in the making. So there's no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners, only 20 calories per can, 85 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. There's lion's mane mushrooms, full gram in there. It's an extract, an 8-to-1 extract, alpha GPC, B vitamins, full dose of vitamin C, electrolytes, full gram of beets per can, half a gram of maca per can. There's a 2-to-1 L-theanine caffeine ratio, so you don't get those jitters. Have a nice smooth up and smooth down, no crash, and they taste phenomenal. Which again, we were just talking about. I wasn't even really that excited about these until we actually tasted them, because I was like, man, they could have all the best ingredients in the world, but if it doesn't taste good, people aren't going to get excited about it. And, or you'll only have the select few and man, they just taste incredible. And once I tasted it, I was like, oh yeah, we got a real winner here.
Yeah. So. These are, I love that you put maca in there because a lot of people don't know about maca root.
Yeah.
I've known about it for a long time. I had a yoga instructor teach me about it. And it was an old woman. She was like, listen, you want this stuff. And I was like, why? What does it do? And she's like, you'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. And maca balances hormones in men and women. It's also been called nature's Viagra. So,
I love it.
It's not called smashing energy for nothing.
It's crazy that you have because maca, the powder, it tastes like shit. Mm-hmm. Like it does not taste good.
Yeah.
Cause I put it in my coffee and stuff. And it's like, I put in my coffee, I'll do like pour over Juniper Mountain coffee. And then I'll mix in, some collagen peptides.
Yeah.
Like the chocolate one. And then I'll put in the maca root and a little bit of like almond creamer, like just like a vanilla creamer, and then mix it up. And I still can taste the maca. Like I can always taste it.
And that's the crazy thing too, is the amount. It's the amount of stuff that we're putting in these products. Like in all of my products, I don't want to just put like a sprinkling of something in there, because you're not going to feel the effects of it, you know? But then you have to balance out the taste of it. Like maca has a strong taste. Beets have a strong taste. Wheatgrass, spirulina, chlorella, those are wheatgrass, or I'm sorry, spirulina and chlorella are blue and green algae. Like they taste horrible. And, you know, we have dense amounts of them in our products. So, you know, that you feel the benefits or so that you get the benefits of them. But, you know, again, you have to mask the flavor, and we're not doing it with artificial sweeteners, you know? So that's definitely the challenge, and it takes time to just tinkering with it over and over. Like I'm literally in the lab, you know, no, a little bit more of this, a little bit less of that, like, you know, trying to dial it in and excuse me, make it, you know, just taste awesome and still have those really potent amounts and, you know, powerful superfood ingredients in there so you can get the best of both worlds. And
where can people find this?
These are available at MASFsupplements.com, MASF, move and stay focused, MASFsupplements.com. And they're direct to consumer on our website right now.
Yeah, we'll put a link up and everything right so there. People can go check it out.
Nice.
Guys, really, it's I don't like energy drinks sometimes. I drink them all the time, but I don't like them sometimes because I get that like jittery crash, and like I'll drink an energy drink and like feel good for like 10 minutes, and then I feel like I need a nap.
Yeah.
I haven't had that at all with this, and I actually recommend I kept catching my stepdaughter taking Celsius.
Yeah.
You know, she was drinking these Celsius on her way to school, and I'm like, hey.
And those
you don't need 200 milligrams of caffeine.
I was going to say 200
first thing in the morning. I was like, try these. She's like, well, it doesn't taste the same. It's like, that's because it doesn't have all the artificial bullshit in it.
Yeah.
And
I think I honestly, and like not even being biased, I swear, I honestly think they taste better. They taste better than any energy drink I've had.
Well, and I'm not a scientist and I don't know for a fact, but I think that all that artificial shit, it gets addicting.
Well, it's bad for your gut health.
Yeah. And I think people get addicted to it.
That's why we went away. You know, I used to have sucralose in my proteins. I had, you know, I used to have like a full supplement line with multiple different proteins, and but we were using artificial sweeteners. But you know, once you know better, do better.
Yeah.
And so we've gone away from all the artificial sweeteners, and you can still accomplish it. You know, it's just going to take time, and every iteration takes time, and you know, it's just one of those things. But it can be done. You know, so that's what we've done with our supplements, and they taste awesome and natural.
Yeah, I think that's the best part, is the natural taste. And it does, like I said, man, there's no jitter, none of that bullshit. It's it's good, man. It's got all your vitamin C's and your B's and your magnesium, your potassium. It's got literally everything that you would want.
Yeah. And
I drank one before our workout, and I'm having another one right now, and it's like I don't feel like all cracked out. Which is excellent. So
you know, so many people drink a lot of energy drinks a day, like they are addicted to them, you know, and it's not good to have that much caffeine, and you know, and all these other ones have artificial sweeteners in them. It's not good for your gut health.
Yeah, you can't process it.
You can literally drink 4 of these a day, and you're going to feel better. It's going to improve your health.
You're still getting less. Then you know, you're still getting less caffeine than you would if you drank 2 of those normal ones.
Oh, for sure.
So. You know, yeah, great product, man. You're crushing it with this.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I'm excited about it. I think it's great.
Yeah. And for athletes too, beets are super helpful for athletes.
Yeah.
You know, good for your cardiovascular health, good for nitric oxide production, great for your libido as well, you know?
Yeah. This, the Smashing Energy is a fitting name.
Exactly. There you
go. So let's take a step back and let's talk about your life. We'll start at the beginning, you know, just tell us like just a quick synopsis of like where you grew up, and then we'll just like, if you played any sports, if you hunted, whatever, what did you do as a kid? And then we'll talk about your military service, and then we'll talk about your fighting, and then we'll talk about it all. So,
all right, let's just get
into it.
Yeah. So, I was born in Virginia Beach, well, actually Portsmouth Naval Hospital, which is, you know, in Virginia. My parents were both in the Navy, so that's why I was born there. And they were stationed in Virginia Beach. And I grew up there till about 10 or 11. My parents ended up getting separated. And then I went to live with my dad in 5th grade in Maryland, and I lived there till finished 9th grade. And then I moved to my mom had remarried my stepdad, who was also, he was in the Navy, but they had gotten out of the Navy and moved to Ohio. And so I went from Maryland to Ohio.
What part of Maryland were you
in? In Bel Air.
Okay.
Harford County.
I know where that is.
Yeah. So that was cool.
What part of Ohio?
In Ohio, I was in Norwalk, or I guess Sandusky is kind of like the more known town. I actually lived in Olena, which was only a mile long. And then like the next biggest town, or whatever you want to call it, very small town, was Norwalk. And then the most recognizable town, I guess, you just tell people Sandusky, and
Cedar Point
is in Sandusky. So I finished up high school there. I went to a vocational school. I absolutely hated school, wanted nothing to do with it. Barely made it through, not because I'm dumb, but just because I had just no interest whatsoever in participating in any of the school stuff. I was literally only there to socialize. I never did any homework. I guessed my way through tests because I just was not interested at all. I knew I wasn't going to do anything in college, or I knew I wasn't going to do any kind of job like that. I loved working. I had a good work ethic. I had 3 jobs in high school, but so I knew it was going to be just a waste of time, so barely made it through high school, got through. And then, I was in Ohio, and I didn't really like Ohio. There wasn't a whole lot going on there.
I grew up in Ohio, so I know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What part?
Not far from Sandusky, and just south of Youngstown.
Okay. Yeah.
So right there where Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia all meet in that area.
Yeah. So it wasn't a whole lot going on there, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And I was just, the Navy recruiter just happened to catch me one day where I was real bored, and he was like, and I had never joined, or never wanted to join the military. My dad, growing up, he always kind of like encouraged me, hey, you should think about joining the military. He was a combat cameraman attached with the SEAL teams, and like I had no interest in the military at all. I didn't care. I knew he did stuff in the military, but I just wasn't interested. And right after I graduated, I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I wasn't sure I even wanted to stay. I didn't want to stay in Ohio, but I didn't know where I wanted to go. And my recruiter caught me on a day I was bored and said, hey, you want to join the Navy? And I was like, why not? That's the way I looked at it. I was like, I can get paid for 4 years, go see, different places, and kind of just figure it out from there. And my mom was with me at the time, and he was like, well, you look like you're in good shape. Do you want to be a Navy SEAL? And I was like, sure. What's that? I don't know. And my mom was like, oh, they're like the rock stars of the military. She's like, if you were in the military, I would see you being a SEAL. And I was like, okay, I'll be a SEAL. Sure. And so we went and, got that going, and I called my dad, and I was like, hey Dad, I'm going to join the Navy. I'm going to be a SEAL. And he's like, what? like, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, the recruiter came by, and, I signed up. I'm going to be a SEAL. He's like, you have to go to BUDS? And I was like, what's that? So then
what did he say when you said that?
He was just like, you have no idea what you signed up for, and I was just like, I don't care. I can do it. And I had no idea what BUDS was.
And you didn't play any sports or anything?
No. I played sports growing up. I played football, basketball, lacrosse. I played baseball in the beginning, like as a kid, but I didn't like baseball.
Yeah.
I liked contact sports.
Right.
Growing up, playing football, I was a nose guard and an outside linebacker, went back and forth between those positions, and a quarterback. So it was like different, but I just loved the aggression. I loved hitting people, like Oklahoma drills and angle drills. Like that was just my shit. Like I enjoyed that more than anything, you know? And I always wanted to like play hockey, cause that was like the only sport that they let you like fight each other.
Right.
But I was a terrible ice skater. So I was like, all right, well, not going to play hockey.
Well, and it's expensive.
But lacrosse is like hockey on grass.
Right.
You know, so I was like, oh, this is way better.
And it's big in Maryland.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. No, lacrosse is fun too.
I always thought it would be fun to play. We didn't have it in where I grew up. That just wasn't.
Well,
available.
I played football, like, you know, as a linebacker and shit for a long time before I ever played lacrosse. So then when I played lacrosse, I was like, oh, now I get to wreck people. You know, it was just really fun. I really enjoyed it.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So you already had like because I would imagine.
And I played dodgeball competitively.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, like a traveling team and everything. And I was on a competitive, like an arm wrestling team in high school.
That's crazy. You guys had an arm wrestling team?
It was not at my school, but it was like outside
like a
of
club
my school.
team?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and dodgeball, like where those were both outside of the school, but you know, that's like the sports that I like loved. Dodgeball more than anything.
Dodgeball's so much fun.
It's the best. It's
loved it. I hated school too, so I would skip class and go straight. I would like ditch a class and just go to the gym.
Yeah.
And play dodgeball for like 3 straight classes.
Yeah. You know? I wanted to be I remember as a kid, I wanted to be a gym teacher. Like that was the first job that, you know, and they're like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? But the first thing like I wanted to be was a gym teacher.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, I love gym class, you know,
that gym was the best.
Yeah.
Cause it's competition.
Yeah.
And our head coach was our gym teacher. So he was just like, all right, just come down to the gym. Like,
yeah. And it was cool because it's like, oh, today you're playing floor hockey. Tomorrow we're playing badminton. Tomorrow we're playing kickball. And it was just
pickleball, everything. Like I got introduced to pickleball in that. Like it was crazy.
I loved badminton. Like
everything.
I loved badminton so much. And then I had a ping pong table growing up, and I played ping pong like crazy with my dad and my brother. Like love ping pong.
Ping pong's great.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, and I just recently got introduced to pickleball.
Just recently.
Do you
love it?
Within like the last couple weeks. I've not even played like a real game yet. I've only like just volleyed back and forth and had like the rules explained to me. And I know I'm going to love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like ping pong and tennis had
combined,
a child.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's fun. I like it a lot. I don't get to do as much as I want, but it's something that I'm going to put the new house I'm building. I'm going to try to put a court on our sport court. I'm going to try to build a sport court.
Yeah.
I'm working that into the negotiations with the wife right now. So
yeah,
we'll see if we can make that happen.
Well,
so you went from, how long out after high school did you join?
Oh, couple months. Yeah. Right.
What were you doing? Just like working and hanging out?
Yeah. I had a job as a roofer. I did roofing, for years. And I worked at my mom and my stepdad. They had like a deli, gas station kind of deli sort of deal. And I worked that. And then I also was a lifeguard at Kalahari. And that's like the world's largest indoor water park. And I was a surf instructor on the Flow Rider.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I'd like teach people how to surf on that and boogie board on that.
I always wanted to do that.
Oh, it's so much fun. I always said, like, if I become like ultra wealthy, like someday, I'm going to buy my own Flow Rider. Like,
how much does this cost, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, like we heard rumors and stuff back then, you know, and it was like, oh, these cost like $1,000 an hour to run or something like that. But I don't think that's true.
That sounds a little bit made up.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, this was back in like 2007, 2006, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just a different time. Like, I don't even think, you know, Google was only not that old.
Right.
So like YouTube wasn't really a thing that much, or there was only a handful of YouTube videos.
Yeah, it wasn't huge. It was just some random things.
We had MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace.
It was just a different time. So like looking up information wasn't as normal or
it wasn't as easy.
I guess it was easy, but it just wasn't like, oh, let's just research it on the internet.
Right.
It was kind of just like urban legends.
It was still pretty, yeah, everything was a legend. Everything was like, that's how it was, man. Everything was a legend. I remember the early days of YouTube were so great too. Cause the random, you remember that Unforgettable guy?
Unforgivable?
Unforgivable.
Yeah. It's fucking classic.
That fucking guy.
There was like a handful of viral videos that were on YouTube, and that was like
old Greg.
That's what you went to YouTube for, was to watch these handful of viral videos.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It wasn't like, oh, I can upload my own, or that wasn't my thought process.
Yeah, I didn't even think that. I was like, how are they even getting these videos on here?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know how to put anything on the internet. Maybe a picture on MySpace or something.
Yeah, could barely do that.
Yeah,
could barely do that. Could barely figure that out. Yeah. So all right, so let's fast forward to so you get into.
I gotta bring this up. You remember like way before then, okay, before the internet was like even a thing, how did we all hear the rumor that Marilyn Manson removed his ribs so he could suck his dick?
I don't know. I don't even know how we heard that.
But that went viral.
It was everyone knew that.
And it wasn't like on TV.
Yeah,
it was literally just like urban legends that just got passed around from friend group to friend group all over the country.
I forgot about that.
But that you heard it.
Yes, everyone knew. Everyone knew. Like everyone knew that Marilyn Manson removed ribs so he could suck his own dick.
Duh.
It was like, what?
It's like, yeah, the sky's blue.
Yeah.
You don't know that?
Yeah, everyone knew that.
What are you, stupid?
It's so random. How did that get spread like that?
I have no idea.
Well, it's funny because I saw a thing the other day about, it was like only 90s kids know this because it was just a bunch of bikes in a front yard.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that's how you knew. That's where people were hanging out.
This is how you knew where to go. You just rode your bike around until you saw a bunch of bikes. You're like, oh, that's where they're at. You went there.
Exactly.
It was a better time, man.
Dude, crazy. Like, crazy to think, right? Like, I remember literally when I went to live with my dad in 5th grade, he would be gone for work before I would wake up. He would be gone for work, and then like I would have to wake myself up, get myself ready, get on the bus, go to school, come back, and he was still not home from work for hours, like 3 hours after I got home. So I was by myself in 5th grade, and I'd just go out and ride my bike all over the place.
Yeah.
Like totally independent, all over the place, hanging out with my friends, whatever. And he would just be like, be home by 5 for dinner.
Yeah.
And it was like,
exactly.
Okay. And
that's exactly how it was.
No cell phones, no nothing. And it was just like, no worries either.
Yeah, nobody ever worried about you.
That was the norm.
It's just normal.
And now it's like, it's kind of like crazy to think about that, like in today's world.
Yeah.
Like especially.
I have a kindergartner and a 17-year-old. And like when I was in I remember being in kindergarten and just running around the neighborhood. Like I'd wake up in the morning in the summer and I'd be out.
Yeah.
And
your parents would tell you like, go outside.
Get the out of the house.
Go outside.
Get out of the house. All right. So like first thing in the morning, I'd wake up and eat like some toast or something and go.
Be home at 6 for dinner.
Yeah. Be home before for me, it was be home before the street lights come on.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. So I would just be out until the streetlights came on.
Yeah.
And nobody came looking for me, worried about me. I just showed up, and it was just, and then you knew it was crazy because you knew like, okay, that guy's kind of creepy. We just won't go near him.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
This lady's mean. Don't go in her yard.
The urban legends just spread, That was how the information spread. It was just through talking to people.
Well, that's the thing. We've gotten rid of like natural selection, right?
Yeah.
Because now like you have all these, like, it's sad to say it, but like some of these kids are dumb as hell.
For sure.
Like they just are dumb. They do dumb shit. They don't have any sense of like
life skills.
They don't know how to like go out in the real world and deal with anxiety, deal with like danger. They don't see danger. They're not self-aware. They're on their phones all day.
They also have no interest in it. Like
zero.
Like my nephews, I remember like, one of them was 17, almost 18, and like just now getting his driver's license. And I like let him drive my truck, and he's like, you know, oh my God, driving for the first time. And I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? Like, I remember sitting on my dad's lap when I was like 8.
Oh yeah.
And like practicing steering and stuff like that. And I would drive, like we'd go to like backcountry roads and I would drive myself, like practice driving myself. I drove so much by the time I was 12. You know, and like by the time when my license came, I could not wait to get my license.
I know, me neither.
That was like freedom. Like, oh my God, I have legs now.
I don't have to ride my bike for 17 miles.
I can go for miles and miles and like that, you know? And like the kids today, they don't have any interest in getting their license. They're like, oh, I'll just Uber. And I'm like, okay.
Dude, I used to steal my mom's car when I was like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Because my stepdad worked at a steel mill and he was gone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was always, you know, incapacitated. So I would just take her car and just go places and drive around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was like a lot of kids did that. It wasn't like I wasn't like, ooh, he's doing something crazy. Like it was like, oh, John and Jim, they both do it. I'm going to do it too.
Yeah.
I know how to drive. I knew how to change a tire when I was that age.
Yeah.
Like I could change the tire and like all that stuff because I was taught how to do it, you know? Because like whether or not like that's just nowadays you need like a computer science degree to fucking work on your car.
Yeah.
You got to plug a computer into it and everything. It didn't used to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, man, it was a better time. It was. I
really
love those
was.
times. I'm like really grateful that I got to grow up in those times.
Dude, I think back to the people that grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I'm like, wow, they had so much freedom.
Yeah.
And just not being surveyed everywhere they go,
man.
Listening to everything you say, watching everything you do. There's cameras everywhere now. Like those people are just free.
Yeah.
And there are no cell phones. It was just like, I'm going to go do this thing and I'll get back to it. I guarantee you it made people so much more present.
Oh yeah.
As well.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I'm guilty of it just like everybody, you know, the cell phone, like it kind of takes away from your presence and things. And that's what's cool about podcasts like this, like, cause you get to be fully present,
yeah.
You know? But yeah, back then it was just such I imagine it just, and I'm just like, wow, I'm so envious of those people that got to grow up in that time.
Yeah.
They literally grew up in the best time ever.
That's what I always say about the NFL. You know, the guys that grew up that played in the NFL without cell phones, they're like, dude, it was a way better time.
Man,
so you could just go out and have fun and you didn't have to worry about somebody. Everybody's a fucking reporter now.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to put a phone in your face when you're out like having a good time. And it's like, dude, I can't even really go out. You can't go out and let loose because somebody's going to pull a phone out and take video of you having a good time.
Yeah.
And, you know,
and everybody acts like gets on their fucking moral high horse. Like they've never done anything wrong or anything. Like I cannot stand that shit. Cause like we're all fallible humans. Like we have all, you know, done shit that we're not proud of or regret or whatever. And I absolutely fucking hate when people act like they have never done that, or, you know, are so appalled when someone makes a mistake or something like that, or things are so unforgivable. Like sure. There are certain things that, you know, are lines that like are absolutely unforgivable. Molesting children, your feet first in the fucking wood chipper.
Yep.
In my opinion. And, you know, there's no redeeming that. There's no whatever.
I agree.
Fuck you. But like, you know, whatever, people making mistakes that normal people make, whatever. And, you know, just getting when people act like they've never done anything, or there's just like, you know, pointing the finger. Like, I just hate that shit. Like,
yeah, me too.
Like, all right, let's acknowledge it. Okay, cool. You learn from it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, as long as I'm accountable for my
actions. Just
like,
be accountable. Like, you know, you can like understand what you did, why it was wrong, you know, do better next time. Let's move on.
Right.
You know,
it's that simple. It's that simple. But like I said, man, everybody's a fucking reporter now. Everybody wants to post. Everybody wants to be the guy be the person that caught so and so doing something they shouldn't have been doing. Or acting stupid or being drunk or being, you know, this guy. It's like, dude, I can't even take a bunch of mushrooms and go out without somebody, you know, wanting to have a conversation with me. And it's like, you know, I don't mind having a conversation, but just don't put me on camera and don't ask me to take pictures because like I look crazy right now.
Yeah.
So
I was just at Pete Hegseth's hearing confirmation or whatever, which all that shit is just theater. It's just for theatrics. It's like, you know, the Republicans just go in there and, oh yeah, you're going to do great for these reasons, blah, blah, blah. And all the Democrats are like, you're a turd because of this, you know? And it's just like, there's no point in this. What's the point of this? It's like, your minds are already made up how you're voting or whatever. It's like, you're not going to actually hear anything and be like, oh, I'll consider that. And maybe, you know.
Yeah. They're not going to change anybody's mind.
I'm like, this is so stupid. And
it's a waste of time.
And they brought up like, you know, oh, one of your coworkers said you were drunk and had a stripper on your lap and blah, blah. And I just started cracking up because I'd be like, I always think of like the Randy Marsh, like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Who fucking cares? Like we're all humans. Like we're having fun. Like, you know, and you can have fun. You can do like some debauchery type shit sometimes and still be super responsible and super fucking productive. And, you know, be a CEO of a company. Like, you know, I am a CEO of a company. I have a national charity, you know, like I do a lot of shit. I'm a former SEAL, all this stuff. I also like to take mushrooms and have a fun time once in a while.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah,
you know?
as long as, that's what I always say. Like as long as you show up and get your shit done, I don't care what you do. Like I don't give a shit how you let loose and how you like to.
Big boy rules.
Yeah, big boy rules. You know, I have a good friend who's you know, he's a neurosurgeon and he is like on top of his shit. But then when it's time to let loose, he lets loose.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't show up to work like that.
Right.
You know, but it's like, hey, when it's your free time, you do what you want in your free time, man. As long as you're not hurting anybody else, who cares?
Yeah, no.
It doesn't matter.
Totally agree.
If you're not breaking any laws, you're doing everything the right way. Well, some laws are being broke, but
some laws are stupid as fuck.
They're stupid as fuck. It's so dumb. Some of these laws are it's just out of control.
And I have a real issue with that again, because I'm sorry, I thought this is America.
Exactly.
It's like, is this not the land of the free? You know, because of the brave, right? And like, I've went overseas and I fought for fucking freedom and democracy, which was bullshit.
Yeah.
And you know, so whatever. That you want to feed me this narrative that it's for, you know, freedom and democracy and all this garbage and fighting terrorism, blah blah blah, whatever. Give me my freedom. Like, I own a property. I own it. I paid for it. Like, you know, don't get me started on fucking taxes, like property taxes. Like,
are you
kidding me? For what? I own this property. Yeah. What do you mean I have to pay the government tax on it just to own it? I had to fucking pay taxes on the money that I made to buy it. I had to.
It's tyranny.
It's so
taxation
tyrannical. Is fucking theft.
Yeah, 1,000%.
I can't stress that enough.
It is
to everyone who's listening. If you're not so infuriated by taxes, you're wrong.
The only people that don't get mad about paying taxes are people that don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
That's the only people that aren't pissed off about it.
You should be. You should be fucking irate. About taxes. That's the only acceptable like standard.
Yeah. You should be fucking pissed. It's bullshit. It is theft. I mean, we started a revolution over a 2% T-tax.
And look at us now, just 37%. And they've really normalized, like they have normalized you thinking,
pay your fair share.
Well, there's no way around death and taxes. Like they try to make slogans about it, and like
they'll toss you in jail if you don't pay them.
And societal like norms, like, you know, it's not polite to talk about politics and religion, and it's like things that matter.
Yeah,
like it's not polite to talk about those, and you should just go with the status quo and like, you know,
because they want us to stay dumb. They want us to stay dumb. They want us to just conform to anything that the government tells us to do. And that's how you create communism.
Yeah. So I have a really like rebellious, I guess, or I have a real issue with when it comes to like certain laws or whatever, like, I, especially on my own property, like just, you need to fuck all the way off. Don't get me
started.
You need to fuck
Dude,
all
in Colorado,
the way
I can't even kill an animal on my property.
Yeah.
I have 80 acres that I can't hunt on unless I draw a tag, unless they allow me to do it.
Yeah. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Get fucked.
This is my land. I own it. I supposedly live in a free country. I fought for it. Fuck off.
Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah.
I mean that 100% with my heart. Like, get the fuck out of my life, out of my space. This is my space.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
If you've
when I go out in a society,
you've earned enough money to buy some property, I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want there. Like I should be able to build whatever I want.
It doesn't matter.
I should be able to do whatever I want. Like
I'm not hurting anybody.
No.
Like, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, I agree with like not hurting anybody else or forcing people like against their will type shit. Any of that is totally understandable. But if I'm not hurting anyone, and you need to fuck all the way off.
Yeah. Leave me in the fuck alone.
Yes.
Stay out of my business.
Yep.
Hey guys, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite sponsors, Juniper Mountain Coffee. Coffee without compromise. You're getting high quality coffee without the high prices. This is an American company that stands behind their values. They stand behind their coffee. These guys make some of the best coffee I've ever had. It's a coffee I drink every morning. Juniper Mountain Coffee works directly with the farmers, paying fair wages, and that way you have no middleman. There's no BS, no garbage. You're getting high quality products. So go check them out at junipermountaincoffee.com. All right, so you show up to Buds.
Yeah. So show up to Buds. Never ran further than a mile in my life, you know. Like, and I grew up like playing sports was all explosive stuff, you know, sprinting, like this and that. So yeah, and I was also 18 years old, so very immature, not a ton of life experience. I would say a little bit more than the average person, or I guess my perspective was a little bit different than the average person, because especially from people there, because I had moved around a lot as a kid because of my parents being separated in the military and being, you know, very independent, whatever. And my parents were very different too. My dad was very militant. My mom was very like free spirited and stuff. So kind of like had mixed views, you know. I was kind of like always a violent hippie growing up, but I don't know. I didn't have that military bearing. I didn't have the desire to. I really resisted against like authority type shit. So the military wasn't the greatest, you know. I didn't like it, you know, and but I was competitive. I was very competitive. So Buds is like very competitive, and I looked at it like this is like me versus the instructors, and like, you know, and I think well, my dad, going back to when my dad was like, oh, you have no idea what you signed up for, right? Yeah. So, and I didn't, but he bought the DVDs, the Discovery Channel 234 documentary. Have you seen that?
No.
Really?
I have not.
Wow, that's shocking. You said you wanted to be a SEAL. I'm shocked
just
you didn't know.
I didn't have access to shit like that, so it just.
Well, so Discovery Channel did a documentary on Buds, and it was called.
Oh, I have seen this.
Yeah, Buds 234.
I have seen this. Yep.
Okay, so you know that's like a 6-hour documentary. Yeah. It's mainly on first phase and Hell Week, and you know, and then there's like an hour or two on second phase and third phase, but. That was like he got those DVDs for me to watch, and like we sat down and watched them, and you know, watched the whole thing straight through, and I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, I remember those.
I have to fucking do all that.
I remember seeing him carry that fucking boat, and I was like, that looks like it fucking sucks.
You know,
and then the laying in the fucking beach,
surf torture.
Yeah, that surf torture looked fucking miserable.
Yeah. There
was a couple things where I was like, man, that looks like fucking misery.
I was,
and then
like,
the stuff in the pool, some of that stuff looked fucking everything. Honestly, everything in that just looked like
Buds is an interesting thing because they're going to find something that you're not good at, and expose it. And you know, you might be a great swimmer, but you suck at running. You might be a great runner, but you suck at swimming, or maybe you're not strong. You can't do the PT, you know, the pull-ups, push-ups, or log PT. or the boats on your head fucking crush you, or maybe you really hate the cold and there's a lot of cold there, or you hate being uncomfortable, or you hate being like talked down to, or like made to feel like, you know, you're a weak link and you're holding back your crew or something. You know, there's just all kinds of different angles that they approach you. And it's like room inspections, you know, where they're just designed to fail, you know, and make you think like that you suck, you know, or whatever. And there's just all kinds of angles that they attack you from, physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. And but I had a different outlook, I think, than a lot of the guys there, because I was probably the only dude in my class that didn't know what buds was when they signed up. You know, everyone else there wanted to be a SEAL basically their whole life, and you know, this was like it for them, and that this was everything, and they were all about it. And I was just kind of like, no, I don't know anything about this shit. But anyway, yeah, seeing the documentaries. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The thing that worried me the most was like the running.
Yeah.
When I saw they were doing a 4-mile timed run on the sand in boots and pants, and I was just like, 4 miles. I'm like, why the fuck would anyone run 4 miles?
Yeah.
I was like, that's crazy. Like, you know, I had like heard about marathons and stuff like that, but I was, you know, cross country, those kids were like kind of weird in school.
Yeah.
So, and they were like always like the nerds. Like I played football and shit, you know. It was like cross country kids were like weird and dainty and shit. So
yeah, super skinny.
Yeah, I'm like, why the fuck are you guys just running? Like that's your sport?
Yeah,
You're just
I always thought it was
running.
Weird.
I'm like,
I
don't
never
get
understood it.
I don't get it. Like that's just weird. So I never did anything like that. So like running 4 miles on the beach, I was like, fuck, in boots and pants. What the hell? That's crazy.
That's gonna suck.
Yeah. So that was like the biggest like thing for me. That looked like it was gonna be like hell. Everything else, I was just like, oh sweet, all right, you think that I can't do this because you know, like my dad, when we got done watching the documentary, and in my head I'm just like, oh fuck, man, this is gonna be a lot. And my dad's like, so you think you can do it? You think you got what it takes? And I was like, no problem. And so like I kind of like took it as like a challenge, you know, almost like in that competitiveness in me was like, I already told people, like a bunch of people, that I'm gonna be a SEAL. And you know, and like now my dad's like kind of like, oh, you think you can do it? And I can tell like he doesn't think I can.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, all right, I'm gonna prove him wrong.
Do it in spite.
Like I'm gonna show everybody. I don't give a fuck that this is like the hardest military training, whatever. Like I can do it. So that's what I signed up to do, and you know, I had to go through fucking boot camp, which was, I just thought was like a waste of time. And like we talked about earlier, like we hate doing things that like we feel like is a waste of time, and it's like not necessary for your goals. Like, so it's like, I don't like why I'm having to go through this thing of boot camp, which is like 8 weeks long of dumb shit that I'm like, I'm just trying to go to Buds and be a SEAL. Like, I don't give a fuck about folding my socks and like making my bed like this or whatever, but it's like a necessary just piece of the process that you have to go through. So it was like, all right, so I have to do this. Okay. So I'm here fucking doing it, whatever. And then when I finally get there to Buds, like I was just obsessed with getting through Hell Week, really. Like Hell Week was like the thing that was like, that's the big daunting, you know, task that's seemingly impossible or damn near impossible. I remember meeting, like once I watched those documentaries and like learned what Hell Week was and like knew what you had to go through to become a SEAL or even just go through Hell Week, it seemed like crazy, you know? And I remember meeting the first SEAL that I met. He was like this older dude, and I was just like, whoa, like this guy's been through fucking a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just kind of like this aura about him. And he was an older dude, but still like just carried himself like a badass, you know, and Vietnam guy and plank owner of Damneck. And then I remember meeting a guy from the area that I was in, he had gone through, and he was in third phase of buds, and he came back, and I was doing my PST. So I was like, holy shit, this guy's, already been through Hell Week. He's, through second phase. He's like about to graduate buds. And I remember just looking at him like, this motherfucker's different.
Yeah.
Like he's been through some serious shit. And I was just like, became like obsessed with Hell Week, particularly going through buds. I was just, my whole mentality, everything was just like, well, this isn't Hell Week, so just got to keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Like this sucks or whatever it is, log PT or the runs or the surf torture, getting just beat down and stuff. And it was just like, yeah, this all sucks, but it's not Hell Week. So like, if I can't do this, like, then I can't do Hell Week.
Right.
And that was just my mindset. I was just like, it's not Hell Week. I got to keep going. It's not Hell Week. It's not Hell Week. And I built up Hell Week so much in my head that I was just like, this is going to be the craziest fucking thing ever, whatever. And then I remember being in the tent, like waiting for Hell Week to start. And like I had called my dad beforehand, and I was just like, at that point I'd been in the process for a while, and I was like, yep, Dad, I'm about to start Hell Week. And he's just like, hey, I don't want to hear from you until Friday. And I want you to just call me and say, Dad, I made it. And I was like, all right. And, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck to expect,
Yeah.
like I'm like nervous as shit, because I'm like, dude, this is everything that I've been training for and working towards. And like, it's just the craziest thing ever, And I remember when Breakout started, they start shooting the machine guns and everything, and it's like, oh fuck, here we go. And they're coming in with the smoke grenades are going off, the flashbangs and chaos and everything, and hit the fucking surf, and you're just like, holy fuck, it's starting, And I'm like expecting like Satan to come out of the ground and just like fucking whip us or something. And they're like, hit the surf, and we hit the surf and start bear crawling back, wet and sandy, and we're on the grinder, and they're just shooting machine guns and flash grenades and all this stuff. And I'm looking around, and I'm just like, oh my, like adrenaline's going. I'm like, oh my God, it's here. It's actually here. It's happening. And I'm looking around, and I just see it's the same instructors that have been beating my ass for the last, however long. And, and we're just doing the same stuff that we've been doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's literally nothing different. It's just a long evolution.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know why, but like, that's like, it just like literally hit me within 3 minutes of starting Hell Week. I was like, oh, okay. This is just the same shit. It's just long.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I literally knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was going to make it. Like 100% confident. And I was just like, I just could not stop smiling, like ear to ear. I was just beyond like happy as fuck. Like, and I was just like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm going to fucking make it through Hell Week. And I was just
probably like, this guy's a fucking psycho.
Dude,
he's smiling.
I literally, so the instructors, when I went through, like the proctor, who's kind of like he's like the instructor that's kind of like your mentor in a way, if you want to call it that. Like they take turns, like the instructors will rotate, like this is my class, and they're like the guys that you can kind of ask some questions to. They're still a buds instructor, and they'll still beat your ass, and they're not your friend, but it's a little liaison between the other instructors. So our proctor, we could get like some disposable cameras, the wind up camera, those cameras, and
Kodaks.
Yeah. And so we could give them a Kodak camera or whatever, and they would just randomly take pictures during Hell Week. And every fucking picture I have, I'm like smiling just ear to ear. It was like Hell Week was one of the best like weeks of my life. Like I literally loved it. I couldn't stop smiling. And I remember like the first evolution we were doing, we right after like we started that initial grinder beat down, and they were like, get under the boats, and we get under the boats, and I'm just like so fucking fired up, like I'm just running and sprinting, and we had this thing in our boat crew, and we kind of agreed upon, and we'd be like, all right, when any one of us starts counting down 10, 9, 8, we would just all count down like that, and we would just like go as hard as we could, like just sprint it out. And that was like just a dig deep thing.
Yeah.
And we got under that boat, and everyone in the class, like we get under the boats, and they're all just like coasting, like going as chill as they can possibly go, because they're like, Hell Week just started. And we've got to go for those you don't know, Hell Week starts Sunday afternoon and it goes until Friday afternoon. So, you know, essentially 5 or 6 days. And it's, you get a 2-hour nap on Wednesday and a 1-hour nap on Thursday. And that's it. Other than that, you are awake the entire time. You're going the whole time. You're completely soaked, wet and sandy, freezing cold. You run well over 100 miles with a big 200-pound boat on your head. You do 3 different log PTs that are 3 hours long, which log PT is a telephone pole, and there's like 6 of you carrying it. And, you know, so it's just a lot of stuff going on. And so everyone is kind of like pacing themselves, you know, and they're trying not to, but I was just so fired up, you know, from being excited about knowing like, there's no way I'm going to quit. I'm going to make it. And we get under the boat, and I'm just like, 10, 9, 8, just screaming it just over and over. As soon as it gets to, 3, 2, 1, 10, 9. And I'm just so pumped. I'm just like fucking sprinting my ass up. And like our boat crew leader was like, Aguiar, stop, like slow down. And one of the instructors came up and fucking chewed his ass. And he was like, don't you ever fucking tell him to slow down. And he like came up to me. He's like, you keep fucking going, Aguiar. You run him out of the goddamn boat. And I was just like, I was just like, I was fucking just, out of my mind. And then like we get like way the fuck down the beach after, I don't know, 10 minutes of running, and we're right on the instructor leading the run's ass, and we're just right behind him running, and he like stops and looks back, and we're literally like a mile ahead of the next boat crew. The entire class is back there, and we're just standing there by ourselves. And he was like, well, we just fucking started. It's not like I can secure you. He goes, get it, put the boat over your head. So we're like, hoo-yah. And we just stand there. And he's like, get an extended arm. So we just hold the boats at extended arm. And we're just waiting for the class.
For people to catch up.
For the class to catch up. Yeah. But I didn't give a fuck, man. I was just so pumped, because I was just like, dude, it's only a matter of time. Like, I'm going to make it through Hell Week.
Yeah.
Like, this is so cool.
Yeah. I think that it's a mindset thing, right? Like
100%.
Like if you go into anything thinking you're going to fail, like you're probably going to fail.
Dude, that's why I say mindset is everything. Like, it's not because it just looks good on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, it's my lived experience. Like, mindset is everything. When you go into the gym and you go in there and you're like, fuck yeah, let's fucking go. And you're just throwing around weight and you feel great, and other days you get in there like all mopey, or you just don't want to be there or whatever. And then that same weight feels so heavy.
Yeah.
And it's not any different. The only thing that's different is your mindset.
Exactly.
And that's what I like experienced. Like Hell Week. It's literally called Hell Week. It's not called fucking, it's not called like best week, but it was one of the best weeks of my life, because my mindset was so positive, and just like, I was so fired up that I was accomplishing this monstrous, monumental, like seemingly impossible goal.
And your mindset and your demeanor and your attitude, that is like contagious to people around you. Right?
Have you seen my other slogan? Attitude is contagious.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not quoting it. I'm just saying that that's something.
No, those are literally,
it really is like, I
have 2 t-shirts, or I have 3 t-shirts that I sell on MASFsupplements.com. You can pull them up. mindset is everything, attitude is contagious, and don't be a pussy. Right there.
Yep, right there. I mean, that's literally
that's all you need.
If you can take those 3 things into life, you should and just live by that. Yeah. I mean, you should be all right.
Right?
You're gonna be all right. Because it is, man. It was like that for especially in college. Like our off-season workouts were fucking crazy. Like it wasn't Hell Week or Buds training or any of that, but it was fucking crazy. Like we would squat until we threw up, and then we'd go out and run 110s until we threw up. And then we'd wake up the next day and do it again. Yeah. It was like,
it's gut check.
Yeah. It's character building.
Yeah.
You're just building character because that's where you build mental toughness.
Yep.
And if you can make it I always said, like, you get paid to practice and the game is for fun.
Yeah.
Like we're getting paid to practice and train and work out and shit. And the game is supposed to be fun. And if you train the right way, then when you get into real life scenario football game, it shouldn't be hard.
And that's kind of what it was like. It's like all the training pre Hell Week was almost like training, and it's like Hell Week is like the fucking Super Bowl, that's what we're all here to do, is like, see if we can make it through this fucking like monstrous task. And so to me, it was like, yeah, we're fucking here. I'm doing it. I wasn't somebody that went into it with false confidence or anything. I'm a realist, So I was like, people would be like, oh, you think you're going to make it through Hell Week? I'm like, I fucking hope so. Like, I mean, I'm going to do my best, but like realistically, like, I don't think anybody signs up for Buds thinking they're going to quit.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody goes into Hell Week thinking they're going to quit. Like, why would you, So, but the reality is 95% of people do. So,
because their mindset, they might have started out with a great mindset.
Yeah.
And a great attitude. But when shit gets really hard and you're fucking sleep deprived.
Fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Oh, dude, I love that you said that because that's like one of my favorite sayings.
Me too.
I say it all the time. It does. And everybody's great whenever they're healthy and feeling great. Everybody's fucking strong and everybody's fucking can run and everybody can lift a boat and everybody can do it. But whenever shit gets hard and you're tired as fuck and you're like have to really dig deep, that's when you start seeing people quit because they've never faced any adversity and they don't understand how to like combat that. And they start feeling sorry for themselves. And it's a slippery slope. Once you allow those dark thoughts to enter, you fucking slide all the way down. And then next thing you know, you start finding reasons to quit. And that shows you like it starts when you're young. If you're allowed to quit when you're young, it gets easier every time to quit. And the same goes for every time that you don't quit. You build a threshold. Yeah. Right. And that threshold gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And
that's how you know what you're made of. Yeah. Right. Like, if you've only endured this much pressure or this much adversity, and that's all you've overcome, like that's where like this is my threshold, this is what I'm made of. But if you don't ever get to there and you only quit here, then that's all you ever know. But your body is capable of so much more than you think it is if you just demand it to do so. And then I always say, like, no matter how hard something is, time doesn't stop. Like, time does not stop. Time always goes. And eventually that time is going to pass. And that's like with Hell Week. Like, Friday is going to be here. Whether you quit or not, Friday is going to be here. So if you choose to quit, you're out. That's where you made it to, whatever. And the people that don't on Friday are going to fucking reach their goal. And they're going to know that they're capable of that now and you're not.
What is it like just watching people drop off? Was it motivating?
It was. At times, like when it was your friends, it wasn't. It was like shitty, like come on, man, you can keep going, and they just wouldn't.
Yeah, just broke.
And that was like, damn, bummed out. But so one of the things we did in Hell Week, I remember this guy who was like pretty good at running, and he was a younger guy. So like there was kind of clicky in Buds, like all the younger guys kind of hung out together because we couldn't go out to like bars and stuff like that after, on the weekends or anything. Like, so we kind of hung out like in these groups, and one of those younger guys, I think his name was Hubbard. He, not to throw you under the bus, but I remember he was like a really good at running, good at swimming, all this stuff. And I sucked at running, you know, and like that was by far my weakest thing was running. I just never run far. So,
yeah,
you know, and I was 185 pounds, you know, 5'10", like I'm a little stockier build, you know, so just running distance wasn't really ever in the cards for me.
Yeah.
And, so one of the whatever you call it, evolutions we did in Buds or in Hell Week that I was like, oh fuck yeah. It was a mile long, like back-to-back repeater. So, but it was the first time that we ran somewhere without the boats on our heads, you know, and this was like Monday or something like that, or yeah, it was like Monday in the afternoon. And like, so at that time you'd already been running for like 30 hours with a fucking boat on your head, and you got to take it off, and we just ran a mile down and a mile back. And then you had to do that twice. And, you know, and I remember just thinking, oh, this is so nice because don't have the boat on your head, and we're just jogging, you know, down on the beach, and I'm still just grinning ear to ear because I'm like, oh, fucking Hell Week, you know? And I remember coming up in Buds, you wear, and before Hell Week, you wear a white t-shirt, and then after Hell Week, you wear a brown t-shirt. But anyway, and your t-shirts have your names stenciled on them. And I remember running back, and I remember seeing his shirt, and I was like, oh shit, that's Hubbard. And I was passing him on the run, which I was like, how the fuck am I passing you? You know, like I suck at running. And, but I remember running by him, and I was like, hey bro, we're fucking doing it. We're fucking doing it. It's Hell Week. And like, you know, kind of just pumped up. And when he like looked at me, and it was just like so much fear. Yeah. And like, just like distress and on his face. And he didn't even like acknowledge what I had said or anything like that. And I was just like, oh, you okay? And I was like, and he just like didn't even acknowledge me. And I was like, oh, all right, killing my vibe. I'm like, just, hey, Hell Week. And I just keep going. And he gets to the end and just keeps running. And they bring the bell everywhere you go in Hell Week. So the bell's just on the back of the truck. Yeah. And so he just ran straight past the finish line, ran straight to the bell, rang that bitch. And that was the last time I ever saw him. Oh. And I was just like, damn, like, I don't get it, but
we're running without the boat.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, well, but you know, it's like Monday, and it's like if you're already like the gig again, the slippery slope of thoughts, negative thoughts, like, oh my god, I'm so like hurting, I'm chafing, like I'm tired. It's only Monday. Yeah, we're going until Friday. There's no way I can fucking keep going. You know. Yeah,
that's why it's important to think. Not to cut you off, but I always thought it was important to think about like. I never went, like I said, I hate to compare football and shit to the military.
No, dude, no.
But it's like, it's the mindset. It's still the same. Yeah. To me, I think, cause just from talking to a lot of guys, it is the same mindset when it comes to like the training and all that shit. Like training camp fucking sucks. Like it is shitty cause it's every fucking day. And it's like, you wake up, you go out there and you run into the same motherfucker over and over and over again. And everything's on film. You go sit and watch that same film. And it's like, okay, this guy just keeps beating my ass. Like I gotta find a way to beat him, but I'm fucking tired. And it's like, finally it's like to test your will, you know what I mean? And get you ready for that and forge you for the season. And I always thought if I think about like how long training camp is going to be, this is going to really suck. But if I think about like just winning this snap, win this down and then get to the next one and get to the next one and get to the next one. And I always took the approach of like, I'm going to go so hard that my coaches have to tell me to slow down. Yeah. Like I'm going to go that hard. And if I pass the fuck out, then I pass out. Like they aren't going to let me die. You know, like they're not going to let you die there. There's got ambulances all over the fucking place. Like I'm not going to die.
Yeah, no, it's a good attitude to have. I mean, you need the same one kind of with Hell Week, you know, like if you are struggling, like they, you know, say like, just go one evolution at a time, just make it to the next chow, you know, make it to the next meal. Yeah. And just think about it that like break it down. Goals. Like how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, just setting those small goals. And I think that's like, we live in this world today where everything's so like instant gratification. Yeah. And I'm an impatient
I'm super
guy
impatient
too, right? Like I want to win now.
Yeah, and you want to like just like give it as much effort as you possibly can and submit things and make them bend to your will.
Yeah.
And some things just don't work that way.
It doesn't work that way with everything. That's why I loved football for that reason, because I could literally, like, if I lost the snap before, guess what? 25 seconds later, we get to go again, motherfucker. Let's go. And I'm just going to try to get you more than you get me.
Who's got the will?
Yeah. And then by the time the fourth quarter comes in there, like, let's see if you're still hanging on. I'm going to try to drag you to the deep end and make you uncomfortable. And that's kind of the mindset I would take. But it was always like, I would set the small goals. Like, okay, let's get a 3 and out here. I'm going to go 3 snaps as hard as I can fucking go. And if we don't get a 3 and out, all right, then I got to reset the goal. I got to reset the clock again. Like, it's just, and that's how it would go. And I'll do that as many times as I can until I need to come off the field and take a break. Like, it was that simple.
Dude, I loved when I played nose guard, like, cause I was like smaller for that position, but I did really well with it because I would just stare at that. Like, I would get down in like almost like a sprinting position, and I would just stare at that fucking ball and just pent out, like, I cannot wait to explode, and I'm just gonna fucking jab my head straight in this dude's face mask as hard as I possibly can as soon as I see that fucking ball twitch. And like, I'm just gonna be faster than him. Like, he has to do this, and then so I was just like a race, I'm just like and just exploding and just boom, and I would try to cause like a disruption or a sack or fuck up his like snap, and that was like so much fun.
The best part about defense is that you're disrupting.
Yeah,
you're just causing
destroyer.
Chaos. We used to FSU fuck shit up. Like, we're just out here to fuck shit up. Like, we watch film, and I would get an understanding of what their offense was like trying to do, but it didn't matter, because like, you'd get to the game, and if I had an expectation of what they were going to do, they usually have switched it up, right? They're like, oh, we have shown this on film, we're going to do something different. And now you're out there like, oh fuck, playing lost. So me, it was just about reacting. And as soon as that fucking ball moved, dude, I was trying to fuck you up. Like, I'm trying to knock you back and set a new line of scrimmage and cause all kinds of chaos. And that's the name of the game.
I mean, obviously I never played at like a high level. So like, I never studied film or anything like that. And it was all just like, I was just trying to sack the quarterback as much as possible, or just trying to fuck shit up as much as possible. And like, when I would do that several plays in a row or something, and then they'd be like, okay, now the guard and the center are both like double teaming me or triple teaming me. And then I'd be like, took that as like a win, cause I'm like, you need 3 motherfuckers to slow me down. And that's opening up my, outside linebackers or whoever to come in and I'm causing a problem, and your coach recognizes it. And it was like, just that competitiveness. Like, I was like, I'm a fucking problem for you guys.
I loved it. I always loved when the next team when we'd play another team like the next week, that they would like really change it up on me. Cause I'm like, they fucking, they had to game plan against me. Like, you want those guys.
It's good for your ego.
And offensive linemen, especially, they have their mindset is way different than a defensive lineman. Like, some of them have that like real dog killer in them. Like, they're just trying to fucking mush you every play, and that sucks to play against. But I have it too. So like, you get 2 of us like that, it's usually a fun game, because we're just fist fighting the whole time. It's just a battle. But a lot of those guys, they'll break. Like, you can get them to break, and
I've never understood the offensive line mentality.
It's so weird, man. Like, they're like, I've heard offensive linemen say shit like, don't get him fired up. What are you fucking firing him up for? Cause like, they'd start talking shit, and then I'd get all pissed off and get mad, and they'd be like, quit firing him up. Like, cause I'm trying to get you, like, they start doing dirty shit. All right, I'm going to do it right back. So like, I'm squeezing your throat until my fingers touch, like that type of shit, like, if we're going to play that game, let's do it. And then, and that would just fucking, they would lose their mind, man. Like, you can get them way out of their game and way into their head. And then you got them beat. Now I got them. They're fucked the whole game. I'm in his head. And
it's almost like fighting. Like, you want them to be emotional.
Yeah, you get them emotional.
When
and they
emotions
do things
run high, logic runs low.
Yep, and they're not doing they're doing shit that's not like they're swinging. Like, I'm sure like a fighter, you get them swinging crazy and just doing things they wouldn't normally do, and not fighting like a
not using proper technique.
Yeah, not fighting technically. They're just fighting out of like, I'm just trying to fuck you up now, and that's when you can catch them making mistakes. And I would do that. I would catch him. Like, I would see like, oh, this motherfucker is leaning so hard right now. He can't wait to try to mush me.
So
and I'll just olay him and let him fall on his face. Like, Like now, and then they're even more pissed, you know? So it's like, now he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that was that head game was always really fun for me. I love that part of the game.
Yeah. No, I definitely loved like playing that position, for, you know, a lot of the same reasons, just cause it was like a competition within the game.
Oh yeah.
You know, like just in there
that nobody sees. Like all the people that watch a game, all they see is like the ball. They watch the ball. They don't see, if they really, really watched what was going on in the trenches, and they could, like the film that we get, you get like a back view and then you get like a side view. So you get to see it like, and watch it in slow-mo and see how fucking crazy it actually gets in there. And it is so violent. And I loved that side of it. Like it was so violent, like 350-pound dudes trying to move me. And then you fucking throw one to the ground and drop to a knee and then like throw the other one off of you and then tackle Derrick Henry.
Dude,
like it's just
what was
awesome.
What was it like the first time like you sacked like Tom Brady, like the fucking GOAT?
Well, my first NFL sack was, I got in my rookie year, but my first NFL sack was against Roethlisberger.
Oh, okay.
And
Big Ben.
And it was awesome because we ran like we were fucked with the offensive
line.
Yeah,
what's that like, you know, that first experience of like, I'm actually in the NFL. Like, you know, I'm sure like Ben Roethlisberger is like someone you've probably watched.
Well, I grew up right next to Pittsburgh.
Right.
So
someone you probably like have watched or kind of like look up to or something like that. And it's like all of a sudden now you're what do they say? Like you're damn it, your idols become your rivals.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, okay, you actually sack like Ben Roethlisberger in the NFL on national TV. Like, what's that feeling like?
Dude, I just jumped up and howled. Like I didn't plan like my sack dance. Like I was gonna like, yeah, my name's Wolfe, but I didn't have like a preconceived notion of like what I was going to do. I just jumped up and was fucking like started howling. Like, I don't know. I was so fired up.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, man, it was that. So that became like my sack dance was to howl.
That's cool.
Like I just jump up and howl, but dude, it's like you fail so much trying to get to the quarterback. You fail over and over and over and over again. And then when you do get there, dude, it is like,
it's just super rewarding.
You just want to fucking rip the ground apart. You just want to go crazy, you know? But the problem is you have to like control. That's where like the control comes in, because you can't get too jazzed up, because you probably you might have to play, and it might be on a second down that you got that sack, or, you know, if it's third down and it's a huge play, then you can go fucking crazy because you never come off the field. But it's like one of those things where you have to kind of control yourself, and you can't get too out of control because the adrenaline dump is intense. When 80,000 people are just like fucking losing their minds, it is fucking intense. And then your teammates are going crazy, and it's
so that was your first one, but like I guess more like Tom Brady for me. I really am like, I'm not like honestly a huge football fan. I don't watch like a bunch of football and stuff, but they're like Tom Brady to me is like, he's like another level of,
oh yeah,
he's an icon, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
So in 2015, I got Tom a couple times. Once I got him once in the regular season, and it was the play was wild, man. It was you know who Von Miller is?
Mm-mm.
So Von is like one of the best pass rushers in the history of the NFL ever. And he and I played next to each other for 8 years. So we just like fucked with people nonstop. It was awesome. We had like 136 sacks together.
Nice.
But he had 100 of them, you know? So we just like, I was doing a lot of shit for him to get sacks. So it always felt like I got to celebrate just like I got a sack whenever he'd get one a lot of times. Cause it was like
a setup.
It was like that's like my brother out there, man. Like it was like, I was these damn cats, dude. They're out of control. So Vaughn was supposed to rush, but he missed, you know, it was so loud. It was an overtime game. And it was so loud in this game. It was like snowing a little bit. It was in December in Denver. And the Patriots came here, and it was like, we were trying to make a run at the Super Bowl, and they just were really good, you know, and they just they beat us like a couple different times. We beat them in an AFC championship before that, but Vaughn was supposed to drop and he didn't, or he was supposed to rush and he didn't. So the guard and the tackle blocked me. Well, I like somehow threw them both onto the ground. Like I just like fucking ran through them. Like, cause I thought I was going to get the one-on-one, with the guard, and Zvon was going to one-on-one with the tackle. So I was like, dude, we got one-on-ones. Let's fucking go. And I didn't even like look at him or say anything. I looked at him, and normally if he wants to run a game, he'll like look back and we'll like fucking make a hand signal or something. But he was just like fucking locked in. I was like, oh yeah, we're getting him. We're getting him. This is happening right now. And dude, it was like the crowd was going crazy. I couldn't hear them. There was just like a vibration. And I get down on my stance and I look, and I'm fucking like waiting for that fucking ball to move. Just move. And I just fucking like a rocket ship off the ball. Dude, I take the guard, throw the guard, like I go to long arm him, which is like a bull rush basically, but I feel him start to lift, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's over. I'm about to fuck him up, dude. And then I feel the tackle come down, and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm getting double teamed. And I throw the guard over his legs, and then I grab the tackle and throw the tackle over the guard. And then I reach out and I grab Tom Brady by the jersey, and I pull this jersey down, and it like slips out of my hand. And then I just like a wrestler would get like a double leg as he's escaping the circle.
Yeah.
So I like grabbed his legs as he was escaping the circle, and he was like, I like looked him in the face, and he was like, good play. Like his first thing he said was like, good play. And I jumped up and went fucking crazy.
That was your rookie year?
No, that was my fourth season, but I did get in my rookie year. It just wasn't in like a huge game or anything, or like it was a pretty big moment when it happened, but it wasn't memorable. But that moment was so memorable because the crowd went fucking crazy. And then a couple weeks later, we playing them in an AFC Championship game in the same offensive line. It was in the third quarter. It was like a big moment in the game. And the guard and the tackle both did the same thing. They both like came down to block me, but the guard like made sure to give him more space, and I just like ran around the tackle. Like I just ran around him, and Tom's not very fast, so you can get away with that shit and catch him. So I like ran around the tackle and came in, like Tom thought he had like an opening through the B gap. So he was like stepping up to throw the ball, and I just fucking, wow, got his ass. And it was the same thing. I was like, I didn't mean to, but I like jumped up and like stood right over him and just fucking howled. And it was like in the front page of it was like one of those, dude, the crowd went fucking crazy, and it was awesome, you know? So like, Tom was just always, he was so fun to play against, man, because he was so competitive and like would recognize like good play. You know, he would like to, you know, he had like a respect for guys.
Right.
He was just incredible to play against, man. Like,
yeah, he's fucking awesome, man. He's a man. Like, yeah, like I said, like I don't really even watch football that much, and you know, I love the game. I like playing it, but like watching it to me, I just wasn't always really into it. I always watch like UFC and stuff now, but
yeah, that's what I like watching. It's fun.
But yeah, Tom, like he's like a Michael Jordan, you know, it's just something.
It's one of the greatest to ever do it. Yeah. And he's fucking, dude, this guy, we hit him 27 times in that game, in that AFC Championship game. We fucking hammered him, dude. I hit him so hard on the first drive and landed on it. We could land on him back then. And I was like, I loved that, like landing on a guy. Because you just like, that's how you like make them feel you,
right?
Make them fear you. You have to make them fear you so that they're back there seeing ghosts.
Yeah. And
dude, I hit him so fucking hard. I beat the guard with like a sick move. I like chopped his inside arm and fucking beat him clean and hit him like, and Tom's, he catches and throws. Like he catches and he's getting rid of the ball. He's not back there patting the ball. And I hit him so fucking hard, landed on him. And I heard the wind leave him, and he jumped right, dude. He was tough. Like people don't think that quarterbacks are tough, but they used to be. And Tom Brady was one of those guys. He was tough as shit, man. I hit him so fucking hard, and he just jumped right up. Like, and he still almost came back and beat us. And we hit him 27 times, dude. Like hammered him 27 times.
Dude, so I have like two kind of funny stories about Tom Brady. So one, like, I really didn't, like I said, don't watch football or whatever. So the Super Bowl was on. I don't even remember what team they were playing, but the Patriots were in the Super Bowl. And I remember my brother like called and was like, "Hey, you going to watch the Super Bowl?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm going to do some mushrooms and paint instead." So I just like, you know, put on some music and took some mushrooms and painted and stuff, and which is very hard to do, which like sometimes painting when you're on mushrooms is not, it just doesn't work. Like the paint was just like looking really weird, and I just ended up not doing it. And or I painted something really stupid. But anyway, like fast forward later in the night, I call my brother and just, you know, "Oh, how was the game?" You know, and he was like, "Oh man, it was crazy." And he just starts going into this like, you know, ran, and I guess it was one of the games where the Patriots like had come back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they were losing to the Falcons by like 21 points.
And they like, it was like score, like real quick, and like went to overtime or something. And he just like, you know, I'm on mushrooms. So he's like explaining all this, and I'm just like, oh my God, that's crazy. and I remember like writing on Instagram, like this, like, big thing about how Tom Brady's the GOAT. I didn't even watch the game, but I was just so fired up about this like story that like, you know, he's telling me a recap about the game and how it went. And I'm just like, dude, Tom Brady's fucking the man. That's awesome. Yeah. So it's hilarious.
He really is, man. He was
and
just
my dad's
unreal.
a huge Patriots fan because my whole family's from New England.
Okay.
They're all from Massachusetts. So my dad's like a huge Patriots fan. And and then another time, like recently, the Fountain Blue in Vegas opened up. Like they had the grand opening, and one of my friends invited me to like the pre-opening up, and it was like all these rich dudes and stuff, and you know, and then me. And then like, but I had like my suit on and everything, and I looked the way I do, and everyone just assumed that I was security like, the whole night. It's so funny. And I was just like, you know, I'm a little bit like slightly offended because I'm just like, do I look that poor or something? You know? But everyone just like kept assuming I was the security, and I'm like, I'm not security, but whatever. And then Tom Brady had like come in, and these are like, this is already like an elite party, like, you know, private thing, but there's like over 1,000 people there. And then Tom Brady comes in, and like Mark Wahlberg and him and like all these people, and Tom's like got extra security around him, even amongst like this group, you know. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, that there's like famous, and there's like Tom Brady famous kind of shit, you know. And I was like, oh fuck, that's Tom Brady. And I was like, damn, my dad is a huge Tom Brady fan. I was like, everyone already thinks I'm fucking security. I might as well just like try to see if I can go over there. So I like literally walked over to this like VIP section and just pretended that I was security and got in. And I just was like pretending I'm security, and I'm standing by the wall. I'm standing by the wall, and Tom and like, I think it was his brother, and, you know, some other people, they're having a conversation right here. Mark Wahlberg's right here. There's some other famous people or whatever. And I'm just standing there like pretending I'm security for like 10 minutes. And then they like, cause I didn't want to like interrupt their conversation. And then he like, you know, has like a little moment where he's just by himself. And I was like, hey, Tom. I was like, hey man, big fan. And my dad like loves you. He's a huge fan. Like, you know, do you mind if we get like a selfie or whatever? So he's super cool, super nice. And we chatted for a little bit, and got a selfie and everything. And it was funny because there was this really drunk dude that was passed out on a couch that was back there. And like Tom and some other like famous guy, I can't remember who it was, but they got on the couch and like this, like next,
took a picture with the passed out
dude's
dude.
like passed out like that, and like he had like these two famous guys, like super famous guy, like hey, like that, you know. It's like something from The Hangover. It was really funny, but anyway, yeah. And I got my selfie with him, and then dipped out of there, and I was like, this is so fucking cool. And yeah, and then Justin Timberlake performed, and got to go right up front, dude. And Justin Timberlake's awesome performer, so it was a great night, but. Good stories.
It's a great story. You just fucking fake security.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, hey, everyone thinks I'm security anyway. Might as well take advantage of it.
All right, guys, I want to talk to you about a product that I've been using for a long time, over a decade. When I was playing football, one of my main staples in my diet was bison. I got my bison from Great Range Premium Bison. They make some of the finest cuts of bison you can get. These guys have ribeyes, ground bison, all the steaks that you want. My favorite part about Great Range is that you don't have to worry about antibiotics or growth hormones in their meats. Great Range Premium Bison is a family-owned company providing bison meat from family-owned ranches around the country. So please go check out greatrangebison.com. Was there a moment during Hell Week where you did think like, oh, fuck?
Yes. So there was a moment in Hell Week that I think it was like Wednesday of Hell Week, and we had to do a jet ski swim, or they call it like a buoy swim or something. and the instructor was on a jet ski, like out past the waves, so out past the surf zone, and we had to go out there, and we were wearing life jackets and camis and boots, and we had to swim out there, and it was so fucking cold. It's like October in San Diego, in the Pacific Ocean. If you've never been in it, is
freezing,
always cold. It's like 50 degrees, or 50 to 55 degrees. And this is Wednesday of Hell Week, so been up, been cold, wet the whole time, and we're swimming out there, and it takes a long time to swim in boots and pants and camis and a life jacket. So like in the surf zone, and in San Diego's surf zone is gnarly. Like the waves out there can get, especially in the winter, they can get, 10, 12 feet easy. So it takes a while to get out to the jet ski, and you have to wait for everybody to get to the jet ski, and then you go around the jet ski and then go swim back in. So did that once, super freaking cold. Go out again, do it again. Fucking super freaking cold. Do it again. Third time, super freaking cold. And I remember the instructors, like, I was like hyperventilating, like hypothermic. And I was just like delirious, and the instructors like grabbed me by the shoulder and like threw me on like the hood of the truck and just dropped my pants and shoved a thermometer up my ass. I felt like so like violated and just like so defenseless, like I was just like, I'm helpless right now. I'm so weak and pathetic. And I'm just like, basically being raped by this thermometer. And that was probably my lowest point in Hell Week. But
so after they take your temperature, what do you say to you?
They just told me to get back in the water.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. So we go out, and they're like, do it again. So like the fourth time, and I'm just like, oh my fucking God, this is so miserable. And we start going out, and they're like, all right, come on back in. Like, just to fuck with your head, because you're just like, God, dude, this sucks so fucking bad. It was so cold. But so
did guys quit on that last one? Did they quit before they went back in?
No, I don't think anyone did on that at that time. Or it couldn't have been Wednesday. It had to have been, because actually I think people did quit, because I remember they were also, as people were quitting, it couldn't have been Wednesday because no one quit on Wednesday. It had to have been Monday or Tuesday, because people were quitting, and I remember they were wrapping them up in blankets and giving them hot chocolate right away as soon as they'd quit. They'd like ring the bell and they'd fucking wrap them up and, give them hot chocolate, and you're seeing that, and you're just like, oh my God, it's so fucking cold. They're like, get back out in the water.
Yeah.
So yeah, it had to have been like, because there was people that quit. But yeah, so that was, towards the end of Hell Week. So, anyway, I'll just fast forward. So through Hell Week, Thursday doing the around the world, which is like paddling from, basically Coronado, go all the way around the San Diego Bay, and then you get out like in the bay and do the mud flats and all the shit, which that sucked. The demo pits and the mud flats. So you're crawling around in the mud, and by that time you're so chafed up and everything, from running like with wet sandy and all that jazz. And dude, there was like gasoline or some kind of oil in this stuff. Like you could see it all in the mud and the water, like, like oil, like it's like that rainbow film, and it was burning. Like, it was burning so bad, like where you're all chafed and everything. And I remember that shit sucked so freaking bad. And then, but anyway, so we run back on Friday, and we get back to the grinder, and they secure us from Hell Week. And everyone gets like a large pizza and a 64-ounce Gatorade and a brown shirt with your name on it. Like, and like, that's like, what you come back to. And I was just like, fuck yeah, and I got my pizza, got my Gatorade, my brown shirt, put my brown shirt on, and I go into my room, and I called my dad, and I call him, and he answers, hello. I said, Dad, I made it. And he just says, yeah, and like scream like, hell yeah, great job, Mitch. So proud of you. And I was just like, fuck yeah. You know, like I just remember that. And then I started eating my pizza and just passed out into my pizza. And I like woke up and like my hands and like face were in the pizza. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh. And I ended up calling, I was married at the time, called my wife. She came and picked me up. And then we went to a barbecue later that night of one of my friends that had quit. And he had quit the first day of first phase though. And this dude, like I literally went through boot camp with him, buds prep, everything. Like, and this dude was a stud. And I knew that he could make it. But if you quit before first phase, they won't let you come back. If you quit during first phase or whatever, you can come back 2 years later and try again.
Yeah.
But if you quit before first phase, like in any of that in-doc or anything like that, then you can't come back. And this dude was a stud. Like I knew, like I was one of my good friends, you know? But he was married to this crazy chick at the time. And she was like older. He was like 20 and she was like 34, something like that.
Yeah.
And she was just insane. And she like made his life like miserable like all the time. And like he's always like trying to deal with. I'm like, bro, you gotta get rid of this chick. You gotta get rid of this chick. And she was just stressing him out so much, you know, about it. And like that's like why he was gonna quit. And in doc, he told me, he's like, dude, I'm just gonna quit. She's driving me crazy, blah blah blah. And I was like, bro, do not fucking quit right now. Like, I know you can do this. Like, please just promise me you will fucking wait till first phase, day one. And he's like, all right. Like, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, please. So he waits, and literally first day one, that motherfucker was waiting at the bell. As soon as he saw the instructors, he goes, ding, 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 I'm out. Left. And I was like, damn, this motherfucker, whatever. He quit. But anyway, I went to his house for a barbecue after I had secured from Hell Week. And, you know, and I'm telling him about it and everything. And I'm like, dude, I know you can do it, blah, blah, blah. And he ended up actually coming back and became a SEAL.
Oh, so he did it.
Yeah.
Did he get rid of the psycho?
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, thank God. But yeah, now he's a SEAL and, you know, crushing it, loves it. And he's a badass dude.
Fuck yeah. So you finish buds.
Yeah.
You go to a barbecue at your buddy's house, and then he ends up going back and doing buds and getting through, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So then when was your first combat?
My first combat deployment was to Afghanistan in 2011. I was at SEAL Team 10 and went to Helmand Province in Afghanistan. And I went, basically was like really hard living. Like, so we had three platoons in my troop, and my sister platoons went to, one went to Tarankout and the other one went to a place called Camp Simmons on, basically it was like a small thing off of Kandahar main base, and it was super awesome. And Tarankout was a big major base too. And like where we went, was the furthest outpost from any major base in Afghanistan. It didn't have running water the entire time. You know, filling sandbags and HESCOs and stuff like that during the day, and you know, doing patrols at night, stuff like that, and having to stand watches and everything. Because I mean, the base that I was on was only probably 100 yards by 100 yards. Like that's how big it was. It was like
fort.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally like worse than prison, you know, because like you can't go anywhere. Like this is where you're at.
Yeah.
And, you know, and our base would get attacked and stuff like that. So we had to do like always have someone on watch and at night, so you don't get to like sleep fully ever. And we had to burn our own shit, you know, and I was a new guy. So like, you know, we had to do that kind of stuff. So it was like new guy games didn't end on deployment, you know? And we had to shovel rocks and fucking fill up sandbags and all that kind of shit. And yeah, no running water the whole time. I was there for a year.
So were you thinking like, fuck yeah, we're getting to finally get to go do the job?
Yeah. I mean, cause I was in
rocks and,
I was in a like kind of, football, comparison. Like we were in practice for, 2 years before I ever deployed. So, like we were definitely like, I was like itching and ready to go actually play the game and do the job and fight. And I was really more like, I don't want to be a fucking new guy anymore.
Yeah.
Like, cause you have to go do a deployment and full workup and deployment before you're not considered a new guy anymore. But then you're just a one pump chump, and then, or, one platoon wonder, sorry. And then you're just a 2 pump chump, so it never ends, but you're always a new guy to somebody.
Right.
But like the main like fuckery is like when you're a new guy or like a rookie, so
the hazing and all the dumb shit that you got to do.
Yeah. And it doesn't stop on deployment. And it's like, bro, we've literally been in gunfights. I've saved your fucking life. Like, and I'm having to go shovel rocks and fucking burn shit. Like, all right. But I'm just over it. But yeah, no, it was a good life experience though, like looking back at it, I'm like, man, like that's what I was doing at 21 years old, like I was on combat missions with a fucking SEAL team, in Afghanistan, like hard living. Like not all deployments are the same or equal or whatever, experiences may vary, and they absolutely do. And, I got the full fucking experience, living in the mountains of Afghanistan, no running water, and I was there for over 11 months. So, basically a year of the bloodiest year of the war. And, got to experience all 4 seasons, snow to fucking 130-degree heat, hiking around the mountains, 20 kilometers and carrying and I was the bigger guy. So I was the A-dub. I carried the big machine gun, and I was, very much into violence of action, so if we get into a gunfight, I want to have at least 1,000 rounds on me, because if in that initial, when you get into a tick, like violence of action is suppression, like, so I'm going to just unleash, so that what you're fucking with, you know, and like that sets the tone, but that weight of the ammo and everything, like you got your body armor, your helmet, your night vision, your water, your ammo, your radio, all that stuff, and you're having to carry it for 20 kilometers in the mountains of Afghanistan, 130-degree heats. Like that's like a real possibility. You know what I mean? So
that sounds awful.
Yeah. But it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of that, like that workout we did today, that long, slow grind, dude, that's like all day. I can do that all day because I've had to do it. Yeah. A lot. And, but it's like, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yep.
If we get into a gunfight, I absolutely want to have the ability to let off 100 rounds right off the rip and not worry so much about like, oh, I have to conserve this ammo.
Yeah.
Like I want to fucking set the tone and hopefully not need that stuff. But if I do, I have.
And you're laying down like suppression fire, right?
Well, so as an A-dub, like as the machine gun guy, like that is your role.
And that's how that's how your teammates are able to move, right?
Right. And they expect you're the big guy, you're carrying the gun, you're carrying the big gun, like, so you're a knuckle drag, like that's like, I was a knuckle dragger, like I was just a violence guy. I was just a break stuff guy, like kind of like a D lineman, it's kind of like what the A-dub is like.
Yeah. Fuck shit up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Just to fight.
You're not the sniper, you're not the sniper, you're not the medic, you're not the JTAC, like you're literally just a sledgehammer.
Which is fitting.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what I wanted.
Did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
Fuck yeah.
So you were there for 11 months, then you came back. What was it like coming back?
So I actually, because it was the longest deployment in SEAL team history. It was the first time they'd ever done this way, because there was something weird where they were trying to like kind of marry up to the Army schedule for some whatever reason. They told us like last minute. They were like, and normally it was 6-month deployments. And they were like, hey, you guys are basically going to do 2 back to back. And we're like, oh, okay. That sucks. Yeah. Like, all right. So, so we actually got to take R&R because it was such a long deployment. So R&R is like rest and recovery or whatever. You come back for basically 2 weeks and then go right back. So I literally went from like fighting in Afghanistan to just getting on a plane, going straight home, no decompression, like stops anywhere. Like normally you'll do like a decompression stop in like Germany or something like that. And they'll have you there for a couple of days or a week or whatever. And then you'll come back to America to kind of like, slowly like reintegrate you, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, nope, you just get like straight on a helicopter from our, place, go to the airport, fly home, and you're like, time starts, you know? And it's like, so I was like, oh, well, I'm just home now, you know? And I was just like, yesterday I was on ops, like, thinking about like IEDs and all this shit and in gunfights. Now I'm back home. And everything.
What was it like though?
Normal.
Like, what was going through your head while you're just like out and hanging out? With
I was super pumped to be back home with my girl at the time, and being able to take showers and like, cause we didn't have running water. So I literally didn't shower. Yeah. Flush a toilet, not have flies on my ass, like not having to burn my own shit, we actually had food, like, cause all of our food was like airdropped in, like MREs, and it was hard living, like on top of all the other shit we're doing. And we were the only people out there. So like when they would drop our stuff in, we had to go out there and get it and like bring it in. And that was like a mission in itself, cause like literally you go outside the wire, you're outside the wire. And we had IEDs right there. Like we found IEDs right outside of our gate.
They just fucking sneak in there and fucking bury one.
Mm-hmm. And, and that was like the scariest thing about Afghanistan in my experience was IEDs. Cause like a gunfight, it's like you being afraid to play against a high school team. You're like, bitch, we'll fucking steamroll you, Yeah. And so like, that's like what it's like fighting in a gunfight against the Taliban or something. Like we're professionals. Like this is what we do. We're excited to do this and we're just going to steamroll you. But an IED is like, you can't, like they're invisible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, you're just stepping and it's like, please don't blow up. 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 So that was like the shittiest part of Afghanistan for me. And that's like, there was a ton of IEDs everywhere all the time. People stepping on them. I watched a guy 10 feet in front of me just step on it, blow up. That's it.
God.
So it's like, fuck, like, that could happen to you, and it has happened.
Puckered up all the time.
Yeah. And it has happened to a lot of guys, and, so it's a real thing that you're just worried about.
Yeah. And, I bet the anxiety that comes with that.
And like, you can't let it, keep you from moving, you can't let it keep you from doing your job and getting the mission complete and all that stuff. So you just kind of have to suppress it and just keep going and
you compartmentalize it.
Yeah, for sure. And then like when you get back to America and you're just like driving around on the roads and no one gives a shit about, like, no one's even considering that an IED, they might run over an IED or something. And that's like all you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And like you see people just walking around just like not a care in the world, and you're just like, So it's definitely different. It made me grateful for a lot of like just the creature comforts and everything of America and all that.
Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Black Buffalo. Black Buffalo's nicotine pouches do not contain tobacco leaf or stem. What they do contain is a ton of flavor, and they're packed with pharmaceutical grade nicotine. The magic of Black Buffalo is they discovered a way to make cured edible green leaves behave like the texture of tobacco. And they add food grade ingredients for industry classic flavors. You're in good company if you roam with the Black Buffalo herd. The business was built by dippers with decades of smokeless tobacco use. They manufacture their tobacco alternatives with respect for those products that came before them. Bold flavors, full pouches, metal lids, and a brand that stands for something, American. Their products are also proudly endorsed by brand ambassadors such as MMA Hall of Famer, Cowboy Cerrone, NASCAR champion, Brian Blaney, rising country star, Larry Fleet, and Rob O'Neill, former U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6. So if you're 21 and older and you consume nicotine or tobacco and you want to join the Black Buffalo herd, head over to blackbuffalo.com to learn more. You can order nicotine pouches online and they ship directly to most states. Or you can check out their store locator to purchase pouches at thousands of retail locations around the country. Black Buffalo, an American brand, pouches worth respect.
I remember when the helicopter came, when I was like gonna take off and actually go home, like I'm finished the deployment. And I remember when the helicopter came, picked me up, and I started flying away. I remember like looking back at like, because Afghanistan is beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not for like, if you're not worried about blowing up or dying and stuff, like the scenery is very pretty. It's very mountainous and stuff like that. So like we had a good, beautiful views the whole time we were there, you know, and I'd been there for almost a year, and it was kind of like, this is my home, you know, in a way. And so as excited as I was to leave, there was a part of me that was like kind of sad, almost like when you move and from somewhere and you're just like, oh man, like I'm moving, you know? Like,
yeah.
I had a lot of memories here,
yeah.
and, you know, good times, bad times, whatever. But it was just like, this was a chapter of my life, you know? And so I remember feeling that as I was flying away, looking out the window and everything.
Because you know you're never going to go back there to that spot.
Yeah,
know?
Probably not.
Probably a good chance you're never going back to that same spot.
Right.
So you come home. How long were you home before the next deployment?
Another workup. So like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does that look like for a SEAL? Are you like, is it just training and?
Yeah, so it's broken up into like phases. So it's like 6 month, 3 different 6 month phases. So that's basically how a 2-year workup is. They're broken into 6 months, six months of pro dev, which is like professional development. Like, so you're going to like schools that either they want you to go to because, hey, we need a sniper, or we need more, you know, breachers, we need more whatever, JTACs. So you'll go and you can kind of like request like, hey, I would like to go to this or that, or be a dog handler, whatever it is that you want to do. And you can, so you have 6 months time to basically go to different schools that you want to go to. And then you come back together once you've all gone out and done your little schools, then you all come back as a unit level training. So that's where you all come back and do training trips together as a team or as a troop. And you go to, you know, diving as a troop, you go to land warfare, you go to CQC, you go to, you know, jump week, you go to all these things, do travel around the country doing all these different trainings together. And then there's 6 months of sit or something. It's like you can go to a couple more schools, or they like see like, okay, we need one more, this person or that. So get a couple last minute schools, and then you do some like kind of figure out more what your mission's going to be and start doing like more practicing like specifics of that deployment. You know what I mean? And then you go on 6 month deployment usually.
Yeah.
So that's like, that was like a full workup cycle.
Yeah. What schools did you go to?
Went to breacher, dog handling, comms, went to Hearst Castmaster.
What's that?
Like rappelling, like
okay.
setting up rappelling out of helicopters, buildings. Went to a bunch of different driving schools, like Raleigh O'Neill Driving School. That was really cool. BDAR, I got to go to like Humvee, like off-roading driving school. Like I was like into cars and driving and stuff like that. So I like put in for a bunch of those and they were super fun. Went to a bunch of dumb little schools too, you know? But yeah.
And then where did you go for your next deployment?
Then I went to Europe and UCOM. So basically like you're just going around practicing like VBSS, boarding ships, you know, with like a smaller boat, and you come up on it and hook a ladder and climb up like as it's underway. Those 2 SEALs died, you know, I think it was like 2 years ago doing that real world. I think it was off of Africa, maybe. Or I can't remember where it was. I'm not sure exactly, but I know that those 2 guys passed away. It's definitely like dangerous, you know, underway doing that. But you basically go around and work with all the European Navy SEALs, like so the Greek Navy SEALs, the Polish Grom, all the different special ops of the Europes, and you basically train them up and kind of work together and and get them up to speed with all that stuff. And it's like relationship building. So it's a lot. It's like half like training like that, and like half like partying. Yeah, you know, with them and like building rapport. You know, so it's like kind of like in your mission set to like, we're gonna party with them.
Yeah, we're gonna hang
out. Oh, that's cool. You know, so after like doing like the fucking super shitty long deployment, double back-to-back deployment to Afghanistan, you know, like that, I was like, oh, sweet, I'm down for a Europe one. You know, like
that was probably pretty fun then.
Oh, it was super fun. Yeah, it was super fun. You got to travel all over Europe and fucking, you know, like I went to Oktoberfest in Munich, Germany.
Nice.
You know, like the actual Oktoberfest. Yeah. Super cool. Like, and it was like, got to see like 500,000 people like in lederhosens and stuff. I like dressed up in my lederhosens, and yeah, it was like night and day from like the deployments, you know, my other deployments. But you know, because I had like already got to kind of experience that, like I was like, yeah, I'm just going to make the most of this. Like, and it's not like I'm picked this, you know, I'm being told what to do. I'm in the military.
Right.
Like this is a billet. Like some guys were like bitching and pissy about it, you know, and it was almost like the attitude was like, if you're not just fucking super disgruntled and like bitching and griping about this all day, then you're a turd. Yeah. You know, and it's like, to me, it was like, I don't think that's a good attitude. Like attitude is contagious, you know, and like if everybody's just butthurt and bitching that we're not in Afghanistan, like that's not going to change what the reality is. Like, you know, like it's not going to change the outcome. Like we're still going to be here. We're going to have to be here for 6 months. And like, you're getting paid way more than, you know, you get per diem, like $100 a day per diem or something, which at the time I was like, dude, that's awesome. You know, it's super cool. And then you're getting to see the world. Like you're getting a fucking paid vacation basically, you know, and I understand that that's not like the mission that you signed up for and all this shit. I get it, but like, you know,
you got to make the best of it.
You play the hand you're dealt,
yeah,
you know, and you make the most of it. Like, why bitch about it? Like, it's not going to fucking change anything. You're just going to ruin your time, or like you could make the best of it and have an awesome time. Yeah. So that's what I did. And
so how long were you there? For 6 months?
6 months.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then you came home.
Yep. Come home. And then you have to go to trade it. Usually after you do like 2 workups, they basically require you to like pay taxes. You know, you gotta give back to the team. So, cause guys usually just want to stay in rotations and just keep, you know, doing workups and stuff like that. But you need people with experience to teach the newer guys, you know, and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And it's like those billets all need just filled or whatever. So
you're just doing like training, or?
Yeah, basically you
did
become
you run
like
buds at all?
An instructor. No, I didn't ever run buds. I would have loved to. I would have loved to be a buds instructor, because I think it's something that like you need the right people to be buds instructors too, or like you need different types of characters to do it. And buds is something that like you need to push people to the edge. You need to know how to push people to the edge and then not go over it.
Yeah.
And then like pull them back a little bit and push them to the edge again and pull them back a little bit. And like, if you're like witty and, you know, funny and stuff like that, you can and you're creative, like you can make it like really fucking fun. You know, like there were some buds instructors that were just fucking hammers, that were just like, just miserable to be around or whatever. And that was like their role. There was the other instructors that were also miserable, but were funny as fuck and like, or would get creative with how they fucked with you or hazed you. And like, you can't help but laugh, you know, like you're like, God, this is fucking hilarious. And like, I'm going to do this if I'm ever in this position, you know, or whatever. You just can get creative. And so I think I would have made an awesome buds instructor, because I did get to mess with like some of the other guys like trying to go to buds and stuff in different roles that I was in. And it was always a good time. So
how long did you do that for?
I basically was started teaching the combatives because I was fighting MMA, you know, just for fun on the weekends.
So you just that's something you got into?
Yeah, I was just doing
just as
that.
like a hobby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I just enjoyed fighting. I enjoyed jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. And I started fighting competitively because I was like, oh, fuck, I can fight and not go to jail. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so I just started doing that for fun on the weekends and started getting like notoriety for it, I guess, because I became ranked number 1 on the East Coast in both middleweight and welterweight at the same time, and became like a champion and everything. And you know, I was getting recognized like for that. And I was, you know, getting invited to go out to like Black House and train with like, you know, I'm training with Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida, Sean Strickland, fucking, you know, a bunch of guys in the UFC, Tony Ferguson, Brian Ortega. Like, I'm in the room training with all these guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, you know, cause I looked at that like the UFC is like the NFL of fighting.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
And to me, like, you know, when I look at like the guys in the NFL, I'm like, those dudes are not like normal humans, you know, like you guys are like giants, and you know what I mean? So it's like, you're just on a different level of athlete. And, you know, it's like that, I didn't see myself as that, you know? And then like with fighting, it was like, oh, I guess I could be at this level, you know, like I'm hanging with these guys. Like they just seemed like I put them on a pedestal almost or something. Like I thought they were like about like just different than me. And it was like, no, they're just guys that started doing this and kept doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I guess I could do this, you know? So then I was like, okay, well, maybe I could make a run at the UFC. Like, I'm pretty good at fighting, you know? I'm like, at the time I was like 15-0, like undefeated, you know, in multiple weight classes, multiple time champion. And I'm training with, you know, Anderson Silva and the shit. And I'm like, man, maybe I could do this. So then I was like, all right, well, I want to get out and pursue that. So I was just teaching combatives at the time. And I was like, well, this is something I'm passionate about and I'm good at. And I think I could be beneficial to teach, you know, combatives to our guys, you know, because I obviously have the tactical background and all that, but I also have now a lot of experience with martial arts and stuff. So I know kind of what's applicable and what's not. And it's really like, and especially when I was in, there was so many guys that were not interested at all in martial arts. Like,
really?
So
you think
surprising.
They would be?
I know. But
that surprises me. I'm shocked by that. Because you really would think that they'd want to know that kind of stuff.
I thought so too. But I truly think it's because it affects your ego. Like, and you have to think like, especially when you're already a SEAL and you're at that level now, your ego is very high.
Yeah.
You have a big ego, and you're also used to everyone like kind of like, yeah, you're a fucking SEAL. You're the baddest motherfuckers. You're this and that. And you are to an extent in that world. And like, when it comes to tactics, when it comes to, you know, operational stuff like that. But then when I strip away your gun, your body armor, you know, your team, your radio, all that, and it's just you, the vessel that you were brought into this universe, and you against another man, what do you got?
Yeah,
and
it's humbling.
And when you don't know jujitsu and someone else does, I don't give a fuck who you are, how big you are, how strong you are going to get your ass handed to you.
Yep.
It's just how it works.
That's how it goes on the mat, man.
And it's just the truth. And so I think guys that were in that position for a long time, and feeling like the top dog and alpha and this and that and type A. And also SEALs are very fucking good at their job. They're very good at everything they do. They have to be. It's the standard. The standard, excellence is the only acceptable standard. And if at any time you dip below the standard and, are not performing, you go away. Yeah. Like guys, 15 years, you've been in the SEAL teams 15 years. I've seen it. 15 years in the SEAL teams, they start fucking up. They have a couple, 2-3 bad weeks. You're gone.
Yeah.
Like that's the level it is that they expect you to perform at. And it's like, not just in one aspect of every aspect of the job, you're expected to be, an expert at it, and you have to perform at it because the stakes are so high, it's life and death. It's not a joke, so they take it very serious, everything that we do, because the lessons that we learn are written in blood.
Yeah.
So I understand like why that is. So, and in a way you have to kind of have that ego to also, because the jobs and like the missions that you're going on are super fucking dangerous, and you need to have that like belief in like not only yourself, but the guys around you, that we're all at this level and we can fucking do anything. And so it's not a surprise when you have that kind of egotistical type of mentality, but then when you go on the mats again and you get fucking strangled by somebody that you are like, I could just wreck this person, but they're just, I guess I can't, you know? And that's like, fuck this. Like I saw a lot of guys just like, nah, I'm a gunfighter.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
And it's like, all right.
I get it, but it's something like, don't you want to know how to?
That's how the mentality I had, because like when I first experienced jujitsu, it was 2 guys that were 145 pounds soaking wet, strangling me. And I was like helpless.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And they only had like a blue belt level of knowledge and a wrestling background. So I'm like, dude, if these little tiny fuckers could do this to me, like imagine what I could do if I learned this.
Yeah.
And I got my ass kicked 100 times in a row, like helplessly, but every time it was like, all right, let's go again, and like, it was like, learned a little bit, like, okay, I fucked up there, or what did I do wrong there? Okay. Now I'm just starting to learn the basics of it, and it takes a long time to get good at it. It's not like, it's not like any other things where it's like if you do 6 months of boxing and like hitting pads, you're going to be decent, like looking on pads after 6 months.
Oh, hell yeah, you are.
And you're going to look like you know how to throw a punch. And like, it's not that dimensional,
right?
Like, of course, at the highest levels, there's Lomachenko with his footwork and this and that, and Floyd Mayweather. But to the average person, like 6 months of hitting, you're going to look like you know how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
And you do.
Yeah. You're going to look like you know how to fight.
At 6 months of jujitsu, you're a fucking white belt and you are horrible still at jujitsu. It's one of those things that takes a long time to get good at. And you have to just check your ego and like, it's okay to suck at this. And it doesn't mean that you suck at everything in life. It just means you suck at jujitsu and you need to put in the time to get better at it.
Yeah.
And I found that like a lot of SEALs just did not like that. And,
they don't like getting that humble pie.
And that's kind of what I like kind of checked it up to, So, so I had to like navigate that too, and I felt like I could, give back in that department. And I feel like I did. And, I created a combatives course that was really, really good, that integrated and focused more on our tactics, driving our combatives. 'Cause, if you're on target doing a triangle choke, something's gone terribly wrong.
Yeah.
So like you don't need, it's not like they don't just totally apply. You have to kind of see what makes sense. And that's what I did. So, and it was really helpful. And a lot of guys benefited a lot from it. And that was really, rewarding to me. And then I ended up getting out, and I was 10 years in the SEAL teams, got out, and I was going to pursue the UFC, and I had started my supplement company. At the time, it was just an apparel company because I selling t-shirts, you know, and I had my walkout fight t-shirt, like my Smash and Frog shirt.
Yeah.
And
So how did Smash and Frog? How did you come up with that?
So that was actually another SEAL, an old dam neck SEAL that would go to my fights, and he owned a company called Scrap and Frog, or a brand, you know, and he used to go to my fights and watch me fight, and he came up to me and he was like, "Hey, you're the Scrap and Frog," and I was like, "Huh?" he's like, and he like showed me this like logo that he like had of this frog, you know, with like, you know, like a fighter frog or something. And I was like, okay. And he owned a t-shirt printing shop, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for like a t-shirt sponsor, like to make my shirts. You want to do it? And he's like, yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So he was like, you're the Scrapping Frog, and I was like, all right. And then so I was originally, it was the Scrapping Frog, and then we ended up changing it to the Smashing Frog.
Yeah.
And so I was the Smashing Frog, and that's what I just started my t-shirts with that, Smashing Frog. And then I was always saying like, mindset is everything, attitude is contagious. Those were like, don't be a pussy. Those were sayings that like I would say a lot, you know, kind of like fatigue makes cowardice fall, whatever. So I just put them on t-shirts and sold them because I liked, like, I loved seeing people wearing my shirts, like supporting me, but it had like this big green frog on it, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, people aren't going to wear that all the time, but like they might wear like a motivational t-shirt, you know? So I ended up doing that t-shirt line and started with just apparel. And I was like growing my social media for my sponsors at the time for fighting. And I had, you know, probably like 50,000 followers at that time, selling t-shirts and stuff. And I was just trying to be active on social media, like being consistent with posting and stuff. And I just didn't have anything to post one day. And I, just like shared my like daily concoction of like supplements that I would take. And it was a bunch of, you know, greens, like the wheatgrass, spirulina, chlorella, all the superfoods and everything. And I just like shared it because I just didn't have anything to post.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what I take. And everyone started calling it the Smashing Greens because that was the Smashing Frog. So my followers named it that. And then, I had watched this documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And it was about this guy that fasted, and he was like fat. He was like an overweight dude that had like the skin disease, and he ended up fasting for, I think it was 60 days, just vegetable juice and nothing else. And he lost like 100 pounds. His like, his skin disease like cleared up. His blood work was like phenomenal. The doctors were like so impressed, you know, they were just like blown away. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like I've never thought about not eating food for that long. You know, it's wild. And I'm like, but this dude literally like looks like a different human being, and he like changed his entire life in 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. So like, I was like, I want to do that, you know, and like just to try it, just because I like pushing myself and just seeing what I can do, you know? And so I bought a juicer and like, you know, went out and got all these vegetables and all this shit. And I started like juicing, like, and I was like, damn, this is a pain in the ass.
It
like,
is.
And you got to clean the fucking juicer. It's a pain in the ass. There's so many parts to it. And your house smells like you're carving pumpkins, you know? And like, so I'm like, God, there's got to be a better way than this, you know? And I'm spending like $30 a day on vegetables, like enough to make enough juice to feel satiated. And then I'd like come across this, like fast forward, I come across this powdered like wheatgrass, organic wheatgrass that you just add water to, and like spirulina and like chlorella and like all these different superfoods. And I was like, oh, sweet, I'll just do this and just take these scoop of each and add water, and that's way easier than juicing and all that shit. So, and then I just shared it with my followers one day, and you know, told them like, yeah, this is what I do to cut weight for my fights. You know, I fast for 10 days and work out and all that, and that's how I feel. I feel good. And And then like everyone was just blowing me up with questions about it nonstop, and out of pure annoyance, like nothing else. I was like, all right, I'm just going to take all this to a manufacturer and just be like, can you put a scoop of each into one formula and just make it like a thing? And they were like, yeah, sure. So I did that. And I was like, here you go. The smashing greens are born. And I didn't think anything of it, you know, and I just put it out there. And then I issued like a challenge. Like I was like, I have an idea, you know, and I was like, all right, if you buy my greens and you do a 10-day fast and you show like a before picture and an after picture and do like a daily weigh-in every day on your story and like show that you're continuously losing weight, because you will, because I've done the fast so many times, I know. I'm like, you'll lose weight every day. And if you show that you do that and then just write an experience, you know, a little blurb about your experience on how you feel during this fast, and you lose a minimum of 15 pounds, which I knew everyone would, because I have abs and I lose 15 pounds.
A lot of people hold like 15 pounds of undigested food.
Yeah. So like, it's going to clean you out. It's going to clear you out. And, you know, it's also a reverse diet. You're literally just saturating yourself with organic, nutrient dense superfoods. You're not putting anything bad in yourself, you know, so people all have the same experiences. They all feel fucking incredible. They all, you know, literally everybody's experience sounded the same. And I knew they would, because from my experience. And
yeah.
So I like issued that challenge, and I said, if you guys do that, then I'll give you your money back for the greens. I'll give you $100 cash and a $100 gift card to my website. I was like, you literally have nothing to lose but weight. And at the time I had like 70,000 followers, and like, I just put that out one day, you know, on my page, and didn't think anything of it. And I was just like, oh, we'll see how many people do it, whatever. And like my mom and everybody's like calling me, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, you can't afford to do that. Like, you know, and I'm like, well, I was like, if people do it, like if everybody does it, it's going to prove that my product works, you know? And like, that was my mindset or thinking, you know, and shitloads of people started buying it and then started doing it. And then everyone was having awesome results. And then like, I like sold out, and like, I ended up selling like $115,000 in a week.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, I just hit the lottery. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I didn't come from money. I, you know, grew up in a single wide trailer. Like, you know, I was just like, what the fuck? I've never experienced that, you know? And, yeah. So then I was like, well, I guess I'm going to start focusing on supplements now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, because a lot of things are created out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you needed a product, so you created one, and then you put a challenge out there for people to challenge people. And
well, dude, I had that formula out there for a year and a half before I made it into a product. And it was simply out of pure annoyance that I made it, because so many people were asking me questions about it nonstop. And I was happy, or I wasn't happy to, but I answered people's questions because I liked that it was helping people lose weight.
Yeah.
And like, my brother lost 110 pounds using the greens.
Good for him.
You know, and like, so I had several people lose like 100 pounds plus. So I was like, okay, this is like actually helping people and all that. So I was like, you know, I'm happy to do it, but I wasn't sponsored by any of the companies that, you know, I wasn't getting a kickback for any of them or anything. So it was just taking a ton of my time.
Yeah.
So that's like out of pure like annoyance, I was like, all right, fuck this. I'm going to make my own, and just like, here you go. I didn't think anything of it. I thought like, yeah, sure, we'll sell a couple, but I didn't think it would like change my life, you know?
And it did.
Yeah.
And then, so you were still fighting, you got the supplements, you're still selling shirts.
Yeah.
So you're like, you kind of got it figured out, right?
I wouldn't say figured out.
I mean,
but
you got it. I'm saying like you're kind of like, you have these different avenues of entrepreneurship and fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is like, it's working out.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to, you know, and I had already made the decision to get out and like pursue fighting and like my Instagram and my business and stuff. And like, you know, try and talk to my dad. Like, he's like, what, you're going to leave the SEAL teams to pursue your Instagram. What the fuck is that? What does that even mean? You know? And like, he didn't like understand that like my business was like, you know, I sold $150,000 in t-shirts in a year.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, no, there's real like money to be made doing this, you know? And he just like, didn't understand, didn't compute.
Well, yeah, it's funny because the old guard, they don't get it, you know. The boomers don't get it.
Well, my dad's 55. He's not that old.
I know, but still, they didn't grow up. They don't have the kids now.
Understanding.
The kids now, they understand social media at such a young age, and like I'm still trying to figure the shit out.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't, because when I was playing, I was like, this is so stupid. I don't want to have to, like, I'm not posting this. And my wife would be like, I'm telling you, like, you should be more present on social media. And I was like, no, I smash quarterbacks. Leave me alone. Right. You know, like I lift weights and smash quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Don't bother me. Like, I wish I would have been more present on social media at that time, but it wasn't until after I got done that I was like, oh, you're right. I should be focused on this. Because I just didn't understand that.
Especially if you have a personality too.
Yeah. And I just didn't understand that, like, hey, if I just put myself out there, people will like enjoy that, you know, and people, and that can create money, you know, it equates to money.
Yeah. And I've always just tried to be like authentically me, you know, which it's been a double-edged sword, you know, and I get people that love me and hate me, you know, and it is what it is. Like and if you're going to put yourself out there and be on social media, you have to be like, have thick skin. You have to be open to criticism, because there's way more people that don't know you and are going to talk shit because they can. It's the internet. It's easy. There's no consequences, whatever. People are miserable and they live unhappy lives. And that's a lot of people. And they, you know, just want to throw rocks at things that shine. Yeah. And,
they want to drag you down.
Yeah. You have to be okay with that. And then, but you being authentically you is going to attract your real supporters, like people that really fuck with you.
Yeah.
And like, they're like, I align with this guy. I align with what he's about. Like, I want to support him. Like, I'm down. Like, you know, so that's how I approached it. And that's what built my social media and allowed me to launch my businesses and, you know, become like free.
Yeah.
You know, until COVID.
Yep. And that's what I was going to lead into next was, you know, because we talked about it earlier about how COVID affected us and our businesses and, you know, our plans, and it kind of shit on everything. So, and, you know, then we talk about how social media, especially Meta, you know, mostly because you know, Instagram was where I focused my attention on, and they just suppressed everything I do. It's no matter what I do, I get tossed in Instagram jail. Yeah. And they don't like, even people that follow me aren't seeing my stuff. And then at one point you had to type my entire to the very last thing before I popped up. And people just aren't going to do that. Yeah. You know, and it was like, after I did Rogan and after I did, you know, Cam, and I did all these big podcasts, Meat Eater I did all these big podcasts. I was like, why? I don't understand why I'm not good. It was funny because I looked at my wife and I was like, am I really that like unlikable? Like, do I just not realize? Am I just not self-aware that I'm just like unlikable? And she was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't understand how my Instagram is not growing. Right. Like, I'm putting content out, I'm engaging with people, and it's just not growing. And she's like, it's because you're being shadow banned. And I was like, what does that mean? Yeah. What the fuck is a shadow ban? No, it's really, she's like, oh, there's some fucking nerd behind a computer that doesn't like you and doesn't like what you stand for. So they are suppressing your Instagram and making it so people can't find you and not putting you on the search page and not doing that. And I was like, I was so pissed, and I still get really angry about it, because they'll put some girl twerking and having her nipples like poking through her shirt or something. Like, that's fine. But me with like a mountain lion is not okay. Right. Or me with an elk that I worked my ass off to get down with my bow. That's not okay. Yeah. Hunting, you know? Toxic masculinity, or me conservative, or me talking about something that's actually true and has been proven to be true. You don't like that, so I can't post it. Yeah. And if I do post it, you're going to suppress me, and anybody that mentions me is going to get suppressed as well. Yeah. So it's like and everyone knows that too. So it's like, you know, people that even want to support you are like, oh, I don't want to shout that out because then I don't want to get shadow banned. Yeah. You know? Like, yeah, it's real. Yeah. And especially when that's like kind of what, like, it's like the career that I'm trying to go towards now is like the YouTube, Instagram, podcast space. Like that's what I'm doing. So like I need sponsors to like help support that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to pull sponsors because they're like, dude, you're like, it's hard. It's tough because you have to find sponsors that align. I want sponsors that align with what I believe in.
Hey, MASF supplements and Violent Hippie are very much aligned with you.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I want to be aligned with the people that believe in what I believe in and that aren't going to conform to the bullshit. Like, it's like, I'm not putting anything as like misinformation.
No.
This is like facts.
Yeah.
That like, I think people should be aware of, like, and I want to just put that out there on my social media so that people that follow me can see that and they can spread that word too. So that people know that, hey, this person is a fucking criminal or this person is taking advantage of you and can't be trusted. And like that kind of thing I think is important, as well as like, I'm also going to post a picture of me and my wife at a music festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also going to post pictures of me hunting. I'm also going to, it's like, it's a whole person. It's as me. I'm putting myself out there and being authentic with you. Genuine. And I'm not like, I don't know. You think people would appreciate that. And I think they do. It's just that they're being suppressed.
The people appreciate it. The overlords that control the ether don't.
Yeah.
All the liberals that work at fucking Meta and, everybody there that's like behind the scenes and they're like, oh yeah, I don't like this viewpoint. I don't like your political, like whatever. I don't agree with hunting. And they literally just
it's that simple for them
behind the scenes.
And they ruin everything you've been working for.
Yeah. I mean, that literally happened to me during COVID. I mean, I had built from the ground up organically, built my Instagram following up to 370,000 followers. I was verified before anybody could just buy it for $10, before back then, getting that blue check was like, that was like celebrity status almost.
Yeah,
it was like, because you couldn't just buy it. You couldn't just like, you had to just get it. And nobody
Instagram.
Fucking knew how to either.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, how do you get the fucking blue check? And because it stood out like a sore thumb, and it was like, okay, so automatically you're getting a lot more attention and like your, eyes to your page or whatever. So if you have a business or something like that, like it's super helpful.
Yeah.
And now everybody just has it. So it's like, no, now it's not special.
It's not special now.
But back then it was, and very helpful to business and stuff. So, and I had the blue check, 370,000 followers. Over 90% of my sales came directly from my Instagram. It was the only thing I had. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have Twitter. I didn't have fucking TikTok, none of that. And, I didn't pay for advertising or anything like that. I didn't work with other influencers or whatever. It was just me and my, page. And my audience was super engaged because, again, I had been extremely transparent and authentic and just like, hey, this is me. If you like it, cool, stick around. If you don't, like, there's the door, and like, I'm not for everybody. I understand that. And I'm not trying to be.
Right.
So, I had a really great audience and, that supported me and my business. And I had kick-ass products too, so it was like, I was doing great. And then, during COVID and all this bullshit's coming out and I'm like, whoa, this is super fucked up. And, a lot of people don't have the time that I do to like research and, they're also in a position where they can't speak out and say what they want to say, or because they're going to lose their job. And like, I'm self-employed. I work for myself. I'm not fucking worried about getting fired, so I felt like I have a voice and a platform, that I can speak up for those that can't and spread this shit that needs to be spread. That's like, no, this is all propaganda. It's fucking lies. And they're trying to control you and manipulate you. And like, this is like tyranny and like it's absolute bullshit. Like all of this is fucking bullshit and it needs to be exposed. People need to push back. People need to talk, stand up, and you're literally giving up your fucking rights for the flu. It's embarrassing. Like, it made me sick to my fucking stomach that like I literally went over and fought for the idea of freedom and democracy and the fact that like in our country and the fact that like I'm thinking that Americans like are we're proud people. We're proud, to be free, and we have fucking guns, and we'll fight back and push back, and for our freedom, and like we respect all the people that died and sacrificed for us to get here, and it's not fucking free, and I just couldn't have been more wrong. During COVID.
Yeah,
like
it was shocking to me.
Shocking.
It shocked me. I couldn't believe how many people just were willing to give up their rights. Just give them up.
Mm-hmm.
All their rights. Just give them right up. Whatever. Like they didn't care.
Yeah.
They're like, whatever you say, I'll do. They're just like, whatever the government says, we will do it.
Yeah.
And I just was shocked by that, man. It really did. It blew my mind because we're Americans, and it's like, it goes against everything we believe in to be like that.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. As an American, you're supposed to believe in true freedom, from tyranny. And then when somebody's like, hey, if you don't shut your business down, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah. No, I mean, just every fucking piece of COVID was absolutely fucking horrendous and ridiculous.
Oh, it's all coming out now. And that's why there's all these pardons coming out.
But people don't even they forget.
Yeah.
They're
just
forget
like, okay with
how fucking absolutely insane COVID was, and the tyranny that we were facing, and the level of fucking stupidity that we had to endure.
Yeah.
And everyone's just okay with that and just like let it slide. Whatever.
Yeah.
No, that was a weird time.
I mean, hundreds of thousands of businesses went under because of this.
People's lives absolutely forever fucking
destroyed, ruined, destroyed, families torn apart. Like, I mean, it wrecked our country.
And not to how many people could have lived and survived if they didn't suppress ivermectin.
Oh yeah.
And all these other fucking treatments that were definitely helpful, but it was all to, no, we got to push this vaccine. We got to push this vaccine out there and make Pfizer fucking profited $38 billion in a year. Pfizer.
Yeah.
Like just one, not Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, all,
just one
have complete immunity from, they doesn't matter how many people they fucked up with that vaccine, that didn't work at all.
Didn't work.
And,
it didn't do anything they said it would do.
Paid for by the tax dollars.
Yep.
By the taxpayers. And if you didn't fucking, your body, your choice, until, no, you get this, or you don't have to get your retirement.
Yeah. Putting people in very compromising positions.
It's like, oh, you have a choice to do it, but you'll lose everything. And, and you have a family to support and all that. And so like, I fucking felt like a moral obligation, like I was good. I was a millionaire, literally, and like self-made millionaire at the time. And it was like, there are fucking people out here right now that I know do want nothing to do with this fucking vaccine or getting it or whatever. And they're like pleading, like, but they can't not do it because their kids need to fucking house to live in. Their wife needs, income. Like they have lives, they can't fucking just do this.
Yeah.
They can't just sacrifice everything for it. And I was just like so fucking angry for those people, and I was like, I have to fucking say something. I can't, like, the only way I can fucking fight back and protest is by literally physically protesting everywhere I go, which I did, literally with a bullhorn in fucking restaurants, like everywhere I went. So hard protesting, making a fucking scene because it was necessary. And and I told people around me, I understand if you don't want to go with me because I'm going to cause a scene every fucking where I go.
Yeah.
Because it needs to happen. Like we need to protest this, and everyone needs to participate. And everyone who's
people were allowed to protest. We weren't allowed to protest this.
Right.
The protesters were out in the streets running rampant, burning cities down. For BLM. Yeah, burning cities down.
For BLM, you can protest all you want, but not against COVID. And I was like, this absolutely needs to happen. And like everybody who is just not, who's just participating in it or whatever, just like because they want to be they don't want to be inconvenienced, or, they don't like confrontation or whatever. So I'll just, yeah, sure, I'll wear my mask. Even though I don't agree with this, and even though I'll stand 6 feet apart, I'll take my mask off when I'm, biting food and then put it back on. And and it's just like, all because they don't want confrontation, or they don't want to be inconvenienced or whatever. It's like, what
or called a murderer.
Yeah.
They call you a murderer.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. So like, I felt like, and there was a lot of people also like genuinely scared and confused, and, and again, didn't have the time to research like I did. Didn't have, like, I was going to medical freedom conference rallies, listening to these doctors that have thousands of peer-reviewed papers talking about all this stuff, and saying it's fucking absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at the time was an ICU in the traveling ICU nurse, going to different hotbeds of COVID and literally telling me like the hospitals are just reporting this shit because they're getting money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, a guy died on a motorcycle accident. Oh, he had COVID. Well, that's a COVID death.
Yep.
Gunshot
wound.
Yeah. COVID death.
COVID death.
And it was just, and like, if you were tapped in and you were paying attention, you knew all of this.
Oh yeah.
And it was infuriating.
Yeah. It pissed me off.
And, and I was like, you know what? I have 370,000 followers. It's not the biggest platform in the world, but it's a good size. I have engaged audience. I have credibility with them, because I'm authentic. Like, I'm not just saying shit to say it, like, this is fucking important.
Yeah.
And like, as a Navy SEAL, like, it's like, when in the absence of leadership, you need to lead.
Yeah.
And it's all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yep.
It says that for a fucking reason,
mm-hmm.
And like, I truly believe like our greatest threat is not outside of our country. It's our fucking government.
Yep.
It's our own government. And COVID absolutely proved that beyond a fucking reasonable doubt, like beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Fuck Dr. Fauci.
Yes.
He's a fucking criminal. And that was absolutely crimes against humanity.
Yeah.
And Mark Zuckerberg, Biden, all these motherfuckers are, that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
know?
Well, the Zuckerberg's trying to cozy up next to all he gets a little testosterone, starts doing jujitsu, and now he's like, oh, I'm one of the cool guys now.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, the Biden administration would call and cuss out our employees and tell them they have to suppress this and suppress that. And then you
could have said, fuck you.
Yeah. You could have done the right fucking thing.
You could have been,
but you are a scummy little weasel.
You could have helped save the world.
You're a weasel.
Like,
you're a fucking weasel.
Like one of the richest and most powerful people in the world. And you're smart too.
Yeah.
You could have seen this for what it was, and listened to half the people that were saying this is what it is. Use your fucking brain. And you could have literally like been one of the most important people in the world in a positive way.
Well, it pisses me off that everybody's like willing to be like, oh, it's okay, Zuck.
Yeah.
No, fuck you.
It's because they want to cozy up to him. It's because, dude, I'm telling you, money is weird.
It is, dude. It makes people act fucking weird.
It makes people act super fucking weird. And I can say that from going from not having any money to becoming a self-made millionaire. Like, and I've seen what money does and like been around people with money, and like money amplifies who you are as a person because it's just a tool at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But like money is this weird thing that we all need.
Yeah.
Right. We all need it. You need money for your life to exchange it for things. And most people have to trade a lot of their time for a little bit of this money, and then when you get in vicinity of people with like large amounts of this money and it's like, oh, well, if I'm nice to him, maybe some of that, like, maybe I'll get some of his money. Maybe he'll bless me with some of his money.
He's not going to give you any of that money.
Like, but that's the mentality I think that like happens.
I know.
Like,
Oh, I know. People treat you different, man.
Yeah.
They do. They'll kiss your ass and they'll.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
No, I could give a fuck how much money you have.
I would tell you if you're a fucking piece of shit, I don't give a fuck that you have billions of dollars. Like, I'll put you in the fucking dirt.
Yeah, you're still a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You still suppressed millions of Americans.
Yeah.
You suppressed their voice because the government told you to. when you're a private company and you could have told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
You could have told him to fuck off and you didn't. And
Yeah.
you're still suppressing people.
And I would be like fucking singing your praises if that was the case, you know?
Absolutely.
I'm not like
He's a coward.
I'm not a billionaire hater. I'm not this. I think Elon Musk is one of the most important fucking
because he's not a coward
in history.
He's not a coward.
He's awesome.
Yeah. He's not a fucking coward. He's not afraid to say what's what, you know, and he's not afraid to take giant risks.
Yeah.
He does it and it's paid off.
Yeah. And like buying Twitter was the most important fucking thing that happened with all of this.
Absolutely.
Like, because Twitter specifically, because Twitter's the platform that allows like very easy like access to like documents and like information, you know, and data and all that stuff. So like, you know, the Twitter files, all that shit, like, and just proved all of that stuff, you know? Man,
he blew the lid off all that shit.
He did.
All the things that we knew were happening, he proved it for us.
And you know, I'm so thankful. I'm so fucking thankful for him helping get Trump elected and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he really did a lot to do that and make it happen. Well, and we needed that.
It was a lot of people stepped up, you know, like Rogan. Yeah. That's a risk for Rogan.
Finally.
Finally. But it was a risk for him to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm sure.
How is it a risk though? How the fuck is it a risk at this point? You have to realize that you are fucking Joe Rogan.
He did it at the right time. You know what I mean? I think he could have done it a year earlier, but after everyone else had him on, he finally decided, okay, I'm going to have him on.
I was very, very thankful that Joe had him on before the election. I mean, it was kind of like cutting it close, you know, and people had already voted. You know, like people had already voted that might have listened to him and switched. So I think it definitely could have been done sooner. And, you know, but obviously Joe's his own person, is his own platform. He's free to do what he chooses. Free to do what he wants. But like listening to him, like, cause I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and listening to him over the years, and especially over the last like year or two, especially, you know, closer he got with Cameron Haynes and around good people like that, you know, and you can hear, like, it's like, dude, you believe all of this stuff. You're not saying it.
Yeah.
And why? To appease these fucking
he got it. Well, it's because they tried to cancel him with the ivermectin.
Oh, I know. You know, but that's like that would just be more validity to like proof to like say what you're going to say, dude.
Yeah. Like his platform is enormous.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's the same is true for the other side, you know, on the left. Like they will lift up somebody that just like lies to people and tells them whatever they're told to say. And
I'm like, why are you trying to appease those people?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like those aren't good people.
I think Joe's got like 36 million average listeners. I mean, that's bigger than all of these big networks, bigger than all of them by tenfold combined. I think you can combine all of them and it still doesn't touch his reach. It doesn't even touch it. So like he could literally say whatever he wants to say.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
he doesn't have to hide.
You have fuck you money, not to mention, like, you can do whatever you want to do. You have the largest platform. You're loved by so many, you know, and like revered by so many. Like, and if you lose people for being authentically you, then fuck them. They're not your people anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and like I always tell people, like, don't afraid to be authentically you, because you never know who will really like the real you.
Yep.
You know, and if you're fucking having to wear a mask and like, you know, like carry this facade around and all this shit, that's exhausting. Like, and you don't like have genuine people around you, because like if you took that mask off, are those people still there? If you didn't fucking live up to this facade, are they still there? It's like, just be you. Yeah. And it'll act as a natural filter. And, you know, those are fucking who like you and who support you will be there, and they'll be there stronger than ever, you know? And for not everybody, you don't have to be liked by everybody. You don't even want to be liked by everybody.
No.
Do you like everybody?
Fuck no.
No. So it's like, I don't want to fucking be liked by everybody. I don't like everybody.
Yeah. You can't expect that. It's unreasonable to expect that. So when did they start canceling your accounts and deleting your accounts, and how did that affect you?
Yeah, I posted a video of me on the streets of New York with a bullhorn, and I was screaming in the bullhorn, you know, the vaccine does not stop you from getting COVID. The vaccine does not stop you from spreading COVID. Don't give up your rights. You know, millions of people have died for your rights. You know, Fauci's a fraud and all this stuff. And they deleted me for misinformation. And I remember my COO and like my best friend Kyle called me, and he was like, "Hey, dude, they deleted your account." And I was like, "What?" And I pulled up my Instagram, and you know, user not found. And I was just like, at this point, I'd been building up my Instagram for 6 years or something like that. And it was also like a diary.
Yeah.
You know, of like my journey. And I had put so much time and effort. I put more effort into my Instagram than anything, because I literally like built that from the ground up, and I started getting into it, and like, you know, and like it became the most important thing to me, and the thing that I was most proud of, because I never in a million years thought I would have a platform where I could affect so many people in a positive way. Like, I had thousands and thousands and thousands of messages from people, you know, telling me how I've helped their life either by losing weight, shifted their mindset. You know, I literally have had 10 people plus tell me that they were going to kill themselves, but decided not to, because, you know, they heard my perspective on things, or I helped them shift their perspective on things, you know. And to me, it was just like, I never imagined I would have the ability to help so many people.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is fucking cool.
That's really cool.
And, you know, not just that, but like, and I also made a living off of this. And
Yeah.
like, and, you know, like, again, I don't come from money. No one in my family has money. No one I'm around has money. Like, so all of a sudden I get money. And I'm not a greedy person. And being in Afghanistan and living with fucking nothing, no running water, no food, no, in a war zone. And I was still happy, and realized it's not material shit. It's your mindset. It's your attitude. Like, those are the things that like shape your world.
Yeah.
You know? And
1000% agree.
And, you know, so now all of a sudden I get money, and I have this mindset, and I'm like, I'm going to fucking help everyone that I love and care about. I'm going to elevate all of their lives in one way or another, you know, do something for them, you know? And I was able to do that and help a lot of people and all that. And it was awesome. And my Instagram allowed that to all be possible, you know? And then they just, because I went against the narrative, just like that, overnight, deleted. And I'm just like, dude, I felt like my house burned down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this is the most important thing, most valuable thing I have. And it's just taken away, gone. And I was just like, oh my God.
So what did you do?
I fucking made a new one.
Started
over. Got up to 60,000 pretty quick, because like people had heard, you know, and like I reached out to a handful of friends and asked them to like shout me out, like, hey, you know, try to like let people know that they just fucking deleted me.
Yeah.
And like half of the people I asked even bothered to shout me out, which was fucking like, and I'm like, you guys just don't even understand the severity of this. And like the fact that you're not willing to inconvenience your day for fucking 5 minutes to post this, and like that cost you no money. Like, it was so infuriating to me. Like, cause I'm the type of friend that like, I will fucking give the shirt off my back.
Yeah.
And like, I will have your back. And like, if you get into a fight, I will fucking beat someone's ass for you. Like, no questions asked, no hesitation. Like, that's just the type of person I am, friend I am, loyal, whatever. And like for you, you can't even be like bothered to do something like, and it's so important and it's so meaningful and important to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck you, you know? So that was one thing, but also
your true friends come out.
Yeah. And, shout out to, Andrew from Half Face Blades, Arbito. I always fuck his last name up. Arbito.
We just call him Beto.
Yeah. He's the fucking man. He's super genuine.
Yes, he is.
He's a man. He's super genuine. He still like helps me to this day, like, you know, shouts out my stuff and without asking. Same thing with Jeff Gum, you know, I have a couple friends that, you know, on their own initiative, like will just like try to like shout me out or help, you know, cause they know the situation.
Yeah.
And like super grateful and like for that and them, you know, they're awesome. But anyway, and check out Half Face Blades cause super fucking dope knives.
They make the best knives.
Yeah.
They make the best knives. It's manufactured right here.
Yeah.
You know, it's fucking badass, man.
And he's super cool too.
He is cool.
And very, very genuine.
Genuine as can be, man. I mean, that guy, the heart on that guy is just incredible, man. You know, and I love the company. They've just come on as a sponsor with me as well.
Oh, cool.
So like, I love working with them. Especially because Andrew and I we're friends regardless, you know? So it was like a perfect fit, you know? So we're going to do like a custom knife just for me.
Oh, nice.
You know? So,
yeah. And he's a big time hunter too.
Yeah. He loves to hunt. He goes up to Alaska a lot and he just, you know, he gets after it. So
yeah, we're
going to do some cool hunts together this year. So, you know, go check out Half Face Blades. It's a badass company.
Yeah.
And the thing about a knife is it's if you buy a cheap knife, it's going to break or it's going to dull out. Like I haven't had to sharpen any of these knives at all. Like I haven't had to touch a sharpener.
Yeah.
And I'm cutting shit up all day, you know, like just fucking around with it. And I'm like, damn, this thing does not go dull.
Yeah.
You know, so it's quality shit, you know, and it's something you can hand down. You know, it's something that stays in you buy a really expensive, nice knife. That knife like stays in your family. You can hand that down to your kids, your grandkids, their kids.
And
like
they're like,
stays in the family.
They're pieces of art.
Yes.
Too.
1000%, dude. Like the handles are unbelievable. Their kitchen sets are fucking super
chef
sick.
Sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those chef sets are sick.
I had a chef set and I auctioned it off to raise money for my charity that I started.
What's the name of your charity?
Adopt a Cop BJJ. So we pay.
Avery, can you pull that up?
Yeah.
You can keep talking. She's just going to pull it up so they have the clip.
So I started this charity. Back when my company was doing good, you know, but, and I had, you know, money and I was able to like help people. And like, this was like a thing. Like I was like, and then again, once I got exposed to like the world of money and then I really like saw like how many people have money and don't do good shit with it. Like they don't help people. And then like,
they hang on to it.
Yeah.
Like
they're
hoard
like
it. So fucking
like
greedy.
Goblins.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so I saw like, you know, there's just like not enough philanthropy, you know, and too much greed. And then like the people with money, they give this like tiniest little fraction of it and people just like gobble their cocks up,
you
know, for it and just act weird or whatever. And like I've seen charities that
like a billionaire donates $1 million.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
And like, and so many charities are just fucking bullshit.
Yep.
And so many charities are just, you know, they make tons of money and like such a small fraction of it goes to the mission. And, you know, and like they have so many people like living awesome fucking lives working for these charities. And it's like, dude, it's a charity.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a non-profit.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so I was like sick of that shit, you know, and I was like, fuck this, man. I want to make my own charity and like make sure like it's correct, you know. But this was during like the BLM and all the defund the police was going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, fuck that. Like that is not the answer.
No.
You know, like these cops need more training. Like And that's like a lot of these shootings are happening because they're not well trained and they're like scared. They're like in fear.
Yeah.
You know, and not to mention like you shouldn't be resisting the police or fighting back. Like not to mention that, but anyway, like a lot of them stem from not having training. And can you pull up that website again? Because I'm going to talk or show something on it. So anyway, so this was my solution to that. You know, it's like, don't bitch about something unless you have like, you're thinking about a solution or trying to, right? So it was like, this was my idea for a solution to that problem. And was like, I was like, you know what? Like police need to learn jujitsu. Even a blue belt level of jujitsu, like you would have a night and day advantage over someone who doesn't train.
Yeah.
You know, and like police, like you're going hands on with people, like you find yourself in a tussle or something like that. Like if they get a hold of your gun, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like being the superior grappler is mandatory for you, or it should be, you know, and I understand that like, you know, they don't have like mandatory training or whatever, but you should. And I was saying like, all these cops need to become blue belts. They need to at least train jujitsu, whatever. And so I'm thinking like, you know, what's the fastest way that can happen? Cause the police is kind of run like the military, like it's shitty, you know, everything sucks. And
well, it's a government agency.
Yeah, government agency. Nothing's going to get done in a timely fashion. And it's only going to, like, if you bring an idea up, it's only going to get funded or whatever if the right person gets credit for it and it's their idea and they can, you know, whatever. So I was like, you know, I'd rather just do this as like on my own as a civilian. And I used to donate money to like the adopt a kid overseas, you know, you send money and they send you a picture of the little fucking Ethiopian kid. And it's like, your money sent, you know, little Dobby a Snickers or whatever, you know? So I had those like on my fridge. I had 2 pictures of these little kids I adopted. And I was like, we could do that with cops. You could adopt a cop. And like, you know, if people out there support police officers and don't want to see like this defund the police type shit, like, you could put your money where your mouth is and support, like pay for a police officer's jiu-jitsu membership.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I was like on my Instagram, just kind of the same thing. I was like, you know what? This is a thing now. Like I'm going to start this charity. And if any police officer out there wants to start training jiu-jitsu, I'll pay for your jiu-jitsu membership, you know? And so I put the first 60 police officers on my credit card.
Oh shit.
And it's funny, my COO of my company now, he was the first officer because he used to be a police officer before he worked for me. And he was the first officer that took me up on the adopt a cop.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I made that, you know, and I said, yeah, it's a thing. And I wanted it to just be like a proof of concept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And cause I was like, if people like see this in action, you know, they'll want to donate or like want to support it. And so I just like said, yeah, that's the thing. Go ahead. And so the cops started training and I made it to where you have to train twice a week, you know, because if me or anyone else is going to donate their hard-earned money for you to train jiu-jitsu, you better fucking train twice a week.
Yeah.
Because that's a minimum.
That's the only way to get better.
It's the only way you're going to get better is, like I said earlier in the podcast, like you have to train jiu-jitsu. You just have to train it a lot in order to get good at it. But once you're good at it, you have it on you all the time.
Yeah.
It's not like a tool that you need. It's not a gun that you have to carry. You are the tool.
Yeah.
And you have it on you.
And it gives you a confidence.
Fuck yes, it does. When I do demonstrations for police officers, I'll literally just blindfold myself and lay on the ground. And I'm like, go ahead and try to subdue me anywhere you want. Approach however you want, because you don't even need your eyes for jiu-jitsu. I know what the human body is.
Yeah.
I know if I grab your wrist, it's connected to your elbow. I know that's connected to your shoulder and your neck. Like I can do jiu-jitsu by feel. Right. So I'll demonstrate this on cops and I'll just fucking effortlessly choke them out or tap them out like over and over, blindfolded. And I'm like, okay, how could you possess this skill and not feel confident going hands-on with someone?
Yeah.
Right. So that was like my whole preference or, thinking with this. So I said, you have to do twice a week training and you have to post a picture on Instagram and, say why like this jujitsu is helping you as an officer. And like, just to like kind of show
and get the word out
and ask for people to support it. And, and then like, you can also like pair people. So I was like, hey, like Susie, you donated $50. Your $50 supported Officer Michael. Like it's transparency, So it was like, cause like I wanted people to know, like when you donate fucking $100 to Wounded Warrior, it's like, well, where does that money go?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea.
But how many executives work at Wounded Warrior making like 100K plus or whatever? You know what I mean? It's like, there's just a lot of that shit.
Yeah, there is.
And so I wanted it to be different, and so I asked like gyms also across the country to like participate in this with me. Cause I'm like, this is a charity, right? Like, so I wanted gyms to like, if you want to be in this program, you will adopt a cop. Like, so one officer gets to train for free from white belt to blue belt. And, that takes roughly 9 months to a year and a half, depending on how quickly you advance or how quickly you pick it up, how many times you're training, like, cause you can get your blue belt in 6 months if you're going, a lot.
4 times, 5 times a week.
Right. And so,
well, you got a lot of gyms on board.
Yeah. So
is that Canada?
So I'll get there. So, and the thing is about jujitsu is it does not fucking matter whether you have 10 people on the mat or 11. You still have to have the same infrastructure and training schedule and this and that. And I own a jiu-jitsu gym. I know that. And like, anyone who has a fucking brain can see that. So it's not like it's going to really take that much sacrifice for you to participate in this program. If you support police and you want to, and you support the charity, which again, charity, it's not about making money, and like, so I would call these gyms up because I wanted it to be, it couldn't just be like me going and training all these officers because it's just too much, right? So it's too big. So I'm like, okay, I want it to be where any officer in the country, anywhere they are, can train at any gym they want, So like, because that's the only way it's going to get effective or be effective. And so I would call the gym and say, hey, Officer Johnson wants to train at your academy. Will you be, do you want to participate in our program? Here's what it is. And every officer after that, we ask for a special membership rate of $50. So this one officer will, we ask that if you're going to be a program affiliated with our program, you adopt one officer. But obviously, there's multiple officers in the area. So if they're going to tell their buddy, hey, come train. So that next officer, the next officer, whatever, all of those next officers, we will pay for their membership. But we're asking for a special rate of $50 per officer. And, and that's all the ask is. And then you can, be added to our website and, be a part of this charity and this program and be a part of the solution.
Yeah.
And we're like, don't be small-minded, like, because once people start training, there's going to be more people that in their life that like they're going to drag into jujitsu.
Oh yeah.
And if their kids want to train, if their wife wants to train, they're not a part of our charity. So that's on you guys to, charge them whatever. But we're just asking these officers, and it's just from white belt to blue belt. After that, and they continue training, they're your customer.
Yeah.
So
and they're most likely going to stay.
Yeah. And so it's like, you know, because we had off gyms like, oh, I can't afford. I'm like, you motherfucker, you can afford it.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of can you afford it or not. It's will you participate or not. That's it. Don't fucking try and give me this shit, you know, about, oh, we can't afford it. Shut the fuck up. And that's what I would say to people, you know, because again, this is my charity. I don't have to not beholden to anybody. So I've talked to people like this.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like I'm trying to do good.
Yeah.
And you either want to be on board or not. And it's cool if you don't, because we'll still allow the officer to train there, but we're only going to reimburse them $50. So if their membership's like $100, we'll say, hey, we asked the gym, they said they don't want to be a part of the program. We'll still allow you to train there, but we're only going to cover $50 of the membership, and the rest is on you. You know, that way it can still be convenient for officers, and they can still train wherever they want, regardless if the gym wants to participate or not. So this map show every red dot is a gym that is affiliated as an Adopt a Cop affiliate. And any cop can train at any of these gyms that's in our program for free. And so they have to train, you know, like I said, twice a week. And at the end of the month, we reimburse them for their membership. So that's how the charity works.
That's sweet.
And if you zoom out a little bit, or even in Hawaii and Alaska.
Oh, hell yeah.
Isn't that cool? But look at that fucking map, baby.
All over, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you're even in Canada.
There's over 1,000 gyms affiliated with us, and we've graduated almost 400 officers to Blue Belt.
See, just knowing that is going to change. That's real change.
Oh yeah.
Because if you have that confidence when you go into a confrontation with somebody that you can like take them to the ground and hold them there without shooting them or tasing them or pepper spraying them or any of that, like you're gonna the deadly conflicts are gonna come way down.
And that's the thing is, like, I've had officers write me and tell me like, oh, I got into a confrontation tonight or whatever. I was like way calm and just like effortlessly kind of controlled it, and it was really good. And that our motto is jujitsu saves lives.
Yeah, it's gonna save lives.
And
1,000%.
And that's the cool thing about the charity. It's like wherever you stand on police, like whether you hate them or love them, everybody wants less shootings.
Yes.
You know, and our country would be in a lot better condition if there was less police shootings, right? Like, so it's like, here's a solution here's a real solution that you can be a part of. And you know what's crazy is I've heard Joe Rogan talk about, like, he's like, man, police officers just need to be blue belts, you know, like, and like he's talked about this, and I'm like, hey, I have a charity that does this. And I don't, you know, he follows me now, but I don't think he knows about this. But
well, maybe he'll find out about it. And
maybe
pump it, because this is a great program.
Yeah.
Well, shit, Mitch, this is a good point to stop, I think, because we could just keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
Forever, you know, but we got to stop at some point. But everybody go check out, what's it called? Adopt a Cop?
adoptacopbjj.org. Yep. Or Adopt a Cop BJJ on Instagram.
Yeah. We'll put that link underneath the video on YouTube. So everybody go check that out, donate to it. I mean, if you want to see real change, that's real change right there.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. I did a raffle with Andy's Knives. So we're doing one with Dom Rasso. He's another SEAL, awesome guy. He just donated a knife that we're raffling off to raise money for the charity. But so Andy, I bought a chef set from him from Half Face Blades. It was a badass chef set. It was a MASF supplements one. And when I wanted, you know, I was trying to raise money for this, I raffled that off, and we raised like $22,000 raffling that off.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Shout out Half Face Blades. Shout out Dom Rasso and Dynamis Alliance, you know, doing this raffle with us. So yeah, and thank you so much for sharing your platform
for coming, man.
with me. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on, man. That was incredible. It was awesome, and I hope that everything is on the up and up now and starts to rise again, because I know, I mean, that's probably so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, No, that's what I was saying. It tanked my business.
I'm sure it did.
You know, we're trying really hard right now to get our head above water, and it's just a struggle for sure.
Yeah, and it'll happen. It'll come back, and you're making a great product. So I support it.
Thank you.
Smashing energy, baby.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for listening to the Wolfe Untamed podcast. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, DerekWolfe_95. Check out the Wolfe Untamed podcast on YouTube. You can listen on all the other platforms, as well as DerekWolfe.com.